Imagine you're working on something important and suddenly things go wrong. What's your first reaction? Do you get upset, or can you stay calm and figure out a solution? It's normal to feel overwhelmed when things don't go as planned. But what if you could handle these moments better? What if you could stay cool and make smart choices even when it's tough? That's where the ideas from an old way of thinking called Stoicism come in. This guide is all about showing you how those ideas can help you keep your cool and stay on track, no matter what life throws at you. Stoicism teaches us how to keep our emotions in check and focus on what we can control. It gives us tips for being disciplined and not letting the tough times get us down. With this guide, you'll learn how to use these Stoic tricks to deal with problems more calmly and make better decisions. You're about to learn how to face challenges without losing your cool by using some smart advice from the past. This guide will show you how to be more disciplined and in control, making life a bit easier and more enjoyable. Let's dive in and find out how to tackle life's ups and downs with a steady hand. One of the Roman emperors, Marcus Aurelius, was a famous Stoic philosopher who wrote a lot of wise things. Because of his ideas, here are 7 useful lessons from Stoics. Number 1. Giving up control over things you can't change. One of the most important ideas in Stoic philosophy comes from Marcus Aurelius, the famous Roman emperor and philosopher. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius tells us to have an attitude of acceptance and inner power in a world full of unknowns and outside forces. He gives an interesting view on how the balance between our inner and outer worlds is very delicate. Teaching us this lesson, he shows us how to control how we respond to things that are out of our control. This lesson reminds us of the Stoic principle that we can keep our minds calm by not worrying about things we can't change. It's a strong warning that our real power comes from how we choose to see, respond to, and handle the ups and downs of life. In this quote, Aurelius tells us to look inward and focus on the things we can change about our lives, our thoughts, emotions, and deeds. People often let outside events control our feelings and well-being, but he tells us to separate ourselves from them. We can use our inner resilience to face the difficulties and challenges that life throws at us by cultivating an attitude focused on self-mastery. Marcus Aurelius says that if we want to practice acceptance, we should see problems not as impossible to solve, but as chances to grow and change. He thinks that we can free ourselves from stress and anger by letting go of the need to control things that we can't change. Having this freedom gives us a sense of inner peace and unity, which helps us deal with problems calmly. Number 2. Trouble is a chance. Marcus Aurelius was a great Roman emperor and a famous Stoic philosopher. He left behind a huge amount of wisdom that has stood the test of time. One of his sayings, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way," speaks to us all about how to use hardship to grow and change ourselves. At a time when the world is unstable and full of problems, Marcus Aurelius gives us more than just intellectual comfort. His message is a big shift in thinking. He wants people to see obstacles not as things to avoid, but as ways to get around them and beat them. The Stoic principle questions the common view that problems are obstacles and encourages us to see these problems as opportunities to learn more about ourselves. The main point of this lesson is to understand that our character isn't just shown by the good things that happen to us, but also by how we handle the bad things that happen to us. Embrace your trials with unwavering courage, Aurelius wrote. See them as priceless chances to grow in resilience, fortitude, and wisdom. Aurelius's idea fits perfectly with modern psychology ideas about how people grow after a stressful event. This idea says that people can not only get through hard times without getting hurt, but can also be changed for the better, becoming happier and having a deeper understanding of how complicated life is. The Stoic attitude that Aurelius showed in his writings shows how powerful hardship can be as a force for change. Engaging in this Stoic principle takes more than just silent acceptance of difficulties. It involves connecting the knowledge of the past with the actual finds of today. It urges us to be actively curious and to be determined to face life's challenges head-on. When we do this, we tap into a natural source of inner power that helps us grow in ways that last beyond short-term failures. People still use Aurelius's writing as a call to action, a challenge to use life's problems as stepping stones to become their best selves. When we fully understand this idea, we start to see hardship not as a heavy load, but as an important part of our journey. With ease, resilience, and a stronger sense of purpose, we learn to deal with life's ups and downs. Virtue is the best thing that can be done. We can learn about Stoic philosophy through the wise and famous Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius. He had a great idea that has stood the test of time. Don't waste time arguing about what a good man should be. Act like one. These words are a call to reach the highest level of human life, a life of virtue. Aurelius believed in this Stoic idea that the only way to be truly happy and satisfied is to live a good life, one that is based on the principles of knowledge, justice, courage, and self-discipline. Through his wisdom, Aurelius shows what a good life is all about and brings attention to the eternal search for goodness and moral excellence. And he tells them that arguing about what makes someone good is pointless because the real core of virtue is not in talking about it, but in doing it. This message strikes a chord as a call to start a life-changing path of living out ideals instead of just thinking about them. At the heart of this Stoic principle is the idea that our happiness doesn't depend on things we own or short-lived joys, but on how good our character is and how well our actions match up with good ideas. Wisdom becomes our guide because it leads us to seek truth and understanding. Justice, which tells us to be fair and honest with others, becomes our leader. Courage, which means being strong in hard times, becomes our friend. Self-discipline, which stands for self-control and restraint, becomes our foundation. The words of Aurelius inspire us to make our lives into works of virtue, with each brushstroke representing the values that have been passed down from generation to generation. It's a call to deal with the difficulties of life by following the road of ethics with a strong moral sense. Today, the Stoic idea that virtue is the key to happiness is still relevant in positive psychology, the field of study that looks into what makes people happy. Studies show that living a life based on traits like thanks, kindness, and caring is linked to better health and happiness. Hence, Aurelius's knowledge serves as a link between old theory and current scientific study. As we walk the road of virtue, we become immersed in a lasting journey that gives us a deep sense of purpose and leads us away from the temporary and toward the eternal. Every good choice brings us one step closer to the happiness Aurelius pictured, a life that goes beyond time and is woven together of honesty, knowledge, and good deeds. The fourth thing is happiness and satisfaction. We can learn about Stoic philosophy through the wise and famous Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius. He had a great idea that has stood the test of time. Don't waste time arguing about what a good man should be. Act like one. These words are a call to reach the highest level of human life, a life of virtue. Aurelius believed in this Stoic idea that the only way to be truly happy and satisfied is to live a good life, one that is based on the principles of knowledge, justice, courage, and self-discipline. Through his wisdom, Aurelius shows what a good life is all about and brings attention to the eternal search for goodness and moral excellence. And he tells them that arguing about what makes someone good is pointless because the real core of virtue is not in talking about it, but in doing it. This message strikes a chord as a call to start a life-changing path of living out ideals instead of just thinking about them. At the heart of this Stoic principle is the idea that our happiness doesn't depend on things we own or short-lived joys, but on how good our character is and how well our actions match up with good ideas. Wisdom becomes our guide because it leads us to seek truth and understanding. Justice, which tells us to be fair and honest with others, becomes our leader. Courage, which means being strong in hard times, becomes our friend. Self-discipline, which stands for self-control and restraint, becomes our foundation. The words of Aurelius inspire us to make our lives into works of virtue, with each brushstroke representing the values that have been passed down from generation to generation. It's a call to deal with the difficulties of life by following the road of ethics with a strong moral sense. Today, the Stoic idea that virtue is the key to happiness is still relevant in positive psychology, the field of study that looks into what makes people happy. Studies show that living a life based on traits like thanks, kindness, and caring is linked to better health and happiness. Hence, Aurelius's knowledge serves as a link between old theory and current scientific study. As we walk the road of virtue, we become immersed in a lasting journey that gives us a deep sense of purpose and leads us away from the temporary and toward the eternal. Every good choice brings us one step closer to the happiness Aurelius pictured, a life that goes beyond time and is woven together of honesty, knowledge, and good deeds. Number 5. Separating yourself from other people's views. While exploring Marcus Aurelius's library of ideas, we find a timeless pearl of wisdom. It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own. These words reveal a deep insight. They make us think about how people tend to be swayed by other people's ideas, even though we naturally value our own. Aurelius's advice shines like a lighthouse, showing us how to let go of outside approval and instead focus on being true to ourselves. In a world full of noise from social comparison and outside judgment, Aurelius's message rings true as a current reminder to rethink where our sense of self-worth comes from. He wants us to explore the confusing passages of our own thoughts, recognizing the paradox that even though we naturally value ourselves, we often spend too much time and energy trying to please other people. This message from the Stoics gives us a way to look at the complicated relationship between our inner stories and how we see the outside world. Aurelius, being wise, tells us to stop focusing on the changing opinions of other people and instead hold fast to our own strong beliefs. He shows us how silly it is to get our sense of worth from praise from other people and encourages us to base our self-esteem on our values and principles. Today, in the digital age, where likes, comments, and shares are common forms of approval, Aurelius's lesson is still relevant. Looking for acceptance from others can hurt your true self-expression and make you feel like you're not good enough, according to psychological studies. Aurelius's knowledge has been used for a long time to heal and create an atmosphere of confidence and bravery. Aurelius's theory tells us to stop caring about what other people think and instead go on an adventure to find our own core values, beliefs, and goals. He tells us that being real doesn't come from fitting in, but from accepting our uniqueness and letting it shine through without worrying about what other people think. Aurelius's advice tells us to remember that our own opinions and values are more important than how other people see us, because those opinions and values change all the time. By doing this, we clear a way to real self-confidence, a way that wins through the woods of self-awareness and ends in the refugee of inner peace. Sixth, your mind has power over matter. As we delve deeper into Marcus Aurelius's philosophical influence, we find a meaningful truth that speaks to all aspects of human life. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Within these few words is a deep realization, an awareness of the amazing power that our thoughts have to shape the shapes of our lives. Through this understanding, Aurelius urges us to explore the magical power of our thoughts to shape the events that make up our lives. The wise Roman Emperor Aurelius and the Stoic philosopher Epictetus go through the complicated maze of human awareness and come out on the other side with a realization that goes beyond time and place. He says that the story of our lives isn't carved into stone by fate, but is instead made up of the threads of our thoughts, beliefs, and actions. This understanding is at the heart of his theory, which praises how our inner world shapes the outside world we experience. In a world full of problems and unknowns, Aurelius's teaching takes on a deeper meaning, becoming a source of hope that shows how we can change our situations by changing the way we think about them. He tells us that if we keep a positive and logical attitude, we can create a music of change that is filled with the sweet sounds of happiness and purpose. The way that ideas and experiences interact has meanings outside of philosophy. It's like a bridge between Stoic knowledge and cognitive psychology. Recent study has shown that cognitive restructuring, a technique similar to Stoic self-examination, can help people feel better emotionally and mentally. The fact that old knowledge and current scientific results are coming together shows that Aurelius's lessons are still useful today. Exploring further, Aurelius's ideas encourage us to stay self-aware as we go through the ups and downs of life. Every event has more purpose and value because of how we think about it. He encourages us to travel through the fields of our thoughts, pulling out the weeds of negativity and planting the seeds of positivity. This could change the way we think and the things we do. As we think about this Stoic principle, we are called to a dance that changes our lives. In this dance, every thought is like a brushstroke on a painting. Aurelius's philosophy wakes us to how important it is to be aware, guardians of our mental landscapes, and care for the rich grounds of our thoughts with a strong sense of purpose. Seventh, accept that things change. We start a deep journey through Marcus Aurelius's intellectual heritage and find a shining pearl of wisdom that rings true in the busy city life of people everywhere. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. These thoughtful words contain a discovery that goes beyond the everyday, a call to accept that life is temporary and to walk its complicated paths with unwavering awareness. Marcus Aurelius, the great Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, made a philosophy fabric that goes beyond the limits of time and explores the idea of change. He suggests that the fact that life is fragile isn't a reason to be sad, but rather a reason to live in the present. This Stoic knowledge of how short life is becomes a lighthouse that helps us savor every moment with compassion. In a world where people are always trying to find things that will last, Aurelius's teachings ring true as a call to change how we see things. His advice is to understand that life as we know it is short and unsure, like a fabric with strings of birth and death. This realization isn't meant to make us sad. It's meant to make us aware of how important every moment is. People who exercise mindfulness are told to become more aware of the present moment, which is similar to what Aurelius said. Both Stoicism and Eastern religions use the idea of change to stress how important it is to let go of bonds to the past and worries about the future. We can better understand Aurelius's lessons when old knowledge and current meditation practices come together in a way that works well. Beyond theory, new study in positive psychology shows that appreciating the present moment and being thankful for life's fleeting gifts is good for you. Aurelius believed in a mindfulness-based method that is supported by research that shows how these practices can improve health, lower stress, and make people happier with their lives. As we take Aurelius's lesson on accepting change into our hearts, we start a path that changes us and makes us aware of how short our lives are. We can create a life filled with the bright glow of present by letting this realization permeate our thoughts, words, and actions. Finally, Marcus Aurelius's lessons contain a deep theory that tells us to see life not as a place we want to get to, but as a journey we are on. We respect the beauty in every passing moment by moving through the tides of time with careful regard. If we listen to what he says, we can create a more meaningful life where every step is appreciated and every breath shows that we are in sync with the pace of change. Have you ever felt like backup plans are always more important than the main thing in someone's life? That state of mind where other people's wants and needs seem to come first, leaving you to wonder if you even matter to them. We're going to face this head-on today. It's not enough to just feel valued. You need to learn the gentle art of becoming attractive, which means changing into someone that people naturally value and care about. We're not talking about changing who you are. We're talking about making the great person you already are even better. This will change everything if you've ever felt ignored or undervalued. Rule 1. How to kill someone. The first thing you need to do to become someone people will remember is to get good at surprise. It's not that you should be secretive or hide who you are when we say mystery. You have to slowly show who you are, like a story that starts with one part and ends with the last. This method makes people want to know more about you and keeps them interested. It's like when you meet someone new and they tell you everything about themselves right away. Later, you won't have as much to learn, but if they tell you little bits of their stories, goals, and thoughts, each meeting will be a chance to learn something fun and new about them. We're still interested because we're learning things slowly. Stoic thinkers knew how important it was to hold back. Marcus Aurelius, for example, thought that temperance was a virtue because it meant not telling everyone everything at once, but instead sharing thoughts and ideas carefully and at the right times. This doesn't mean you're hiding who you really are. It just means you're giving people time to get to know and enjoy the full range of your personality. Seneca, another Stoic philosopher, said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." This is also true when it comes to how we share ourselves with others. Enjoy the present moments of interaction without feeling like you have to rush and tell them everything about your deepest thoughts, plans for the future, or experiences from the past. Let these things come up on their own as your relationships get stronger. Being mysterious doesn't mean making up a fake character or trying to avoid people on purpose. It means realizing that your life story is important and that you should share it with care and thought. You want to build up your character, experiences, and views in a way that makes people want to know more and be a part of your story, like a good speaker. This way of interacting makes you seem attractive. People are naturally pulled to those who make them think and leave a little to the imagination. It's like how good books make you want to turn the page and see what happens next. If you learn how to write mysteries well, you'll become that interesting book that makes people eagerly await each new chapter. Rule 2. Show what you're worth. To become important in other people's lives, the second step is to show them how valuable you are. Being proud or acting like someone you're not is not the point. The point is to show that you are unique and important, just like everyone else, and that your presence in someone's life is something special. If you think about it this way, things that are easy to get are often taken for granted, but things that are hard to get are valued more. You need to follow this rule to show that you are like that rare and valuable prize. It means showing that you respect and value yourself by how you live your life. People will start to see and respect your worth when you do this. Marcus Aurelius, a wise Stoic philosopher, once said, "You have control over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." When you know how valuable you are and don't need other people to tell you, you become more attractive on your own. We learned from Seneca that time is valuable and shows how much we value ourselves. He said, "It's not that we don't have much time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." By choosing not to waste your time on people who don't value you, you show that your time is valuable. This doesn't mean you should be rude or condescending. Instead, spend a lot of time with people who respect and value your time and energy. Another great Stoic, Epictetus, also stressed the importance of being independent. We can't control the world, but we can control how we react to it. People are more likely to see you as valuable if you are independent and sure of yourself. This rule is about how to live your life with respect, self-respect, and confidence. You should know how much you're worth and not be afraid to show it in a strong but humble way. People will automatically respect and pay attention to you if you set healthy limits, respect yourself, and work hard to reach your own goals. They don't just see you as another person. They see you as important and have faith in you. This makes them more likely to put you first in their lives. Rule 3. Be happy for yourself. Finding and making your own happiness is the third rule for becoming important in other people's lives. This is a very important rule because being happy with yourself makes you more attractive to other people. It's not about acting like you're happy. It's about finding what makes you happy and going after it. A Stoic philosopher named Marcus Aurelius said that happiness comes from inside. He said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This means that your happiness doesn't depend on other people. It starts with how you think and feel about life. When you think happy thoughts and take pride in your actions and accomplishments, you give off an air of confidence and happiness that makes people want to be around you. Seneca also said that being happy with oneself was very important. He thought that real happiness comes from within and isn't dependent on outside factors. True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future, he said. In real life, this means focusing on the present and enjoying the good things in life as they come your way instead of always looking for happiness in other people. Another Stoic philosopher, Epictetus, said it was important to think about what we can control. As a strong warning, he said, "Seek not the good in external things, seek it in yourselves." Your happiness shouldn't rest on what other people do or say. It should be based on your own ideals, hobbies, and self-care. When you use this rule in real life, it means doing things you enjoy, spending time with people who make you happy, and looking after your physical and mental health. It's about making your life a good one, no matter what your relationship situation is. You don't need other people to fill a void when you're happy with who you are and your life. Instead, you share your whole happy self with them. People will want to be in your life because of this trait, not because you need them to be happy, but because they want to be happy with you. To sum up, being happy means keeping a good attitude, savoring the present, and discovering joy in your own life. This happiness inside you makes other people want to be around you, which naturally makes you more important in their lives. Rule 4. Be valuable, and people will want to invest in you. The fourth rule for becoming important in other people's lives is to know how valuable you are and let them spend time and energy on you. Realizing that you are valuable, like a rare and unique gem, and not something that can be easily gotten without work, is what this rule is all about. The ideas of the Stoic thinkers are based on this idea. An important Stoic thinker named Epictetus once said, "No great thing is created suddenly." The same is true for relationships. Great bonds don't happen fast. They take time, effort, and mutual investment. People will respect you more because they can see how valuable you are and how much you add to their lives when they give you their time and energy. Another person who stressed the value of self-worth was Marcus Aurelius. He thought that inner power and self-respect were important, and he said that how a person sees themselves is a big part of how others see and value them. Aurelius once said, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. If you know your worth and show it, other people are more likely to see it and accept it." This rule is also in line with what Seneca taught. He pushed for a happy life with oneself and said it was important to put oneself first. He said, "We suffer more often in our imaginations than in reality." This means that worrying that other people won't see your worth isn't always well-founded. People will start to see and value your worth when you focus on being useful to yourself. In real life, this rule means living a life that shows how valuable you are. Do things that will help you learn new things and improve the ones you already have. Also, take care of your body, mind, and emotions. Make a life for yourself that other people will want to be a part of. Don't forget that when someone spends time and effort on you, it builds a stronger bond and gives your relationship more value. They stop seeing you as just another person in their life and start to see you as someone important and unique. In conclusion, if you want to be useful and let others invest in you, you need to know your worth, work on improving yourself, and build relationships based on mutual respect and hard work. With this method, people will put you first in their lives, not because you ask them to, but because they value and respect you. Rule 5. Do your own thing. To become important in other people's lives, the fifth rule is to live your own life to the best. This means being proud of your freedom and going after your own goals and hobbies. It's about making your own happy and meaningful life instead of depending on other people to give you that. A wise and calm ruler named Marcus Aurelius said, "He who lives in harmony with himself lives in harmony with the universe." This quote perfectly captures the spirit of this rule. To live in balance with yourself, you need to be aware of your own dreams, interests, and goals, and go after them. People usually find you more beautiful when you are happy and satisfied with your own life. They see you as whole and able to take care of themselves, which makes them want to be with you. Another Stoic philosopher, Seneca, also talked a lot about how important it is to be happy with yourself. His view was that our happiness shouldn't depend on our ties with other people. Seneca said, "If you want to be loved, love." This means that you should love and be happy with yourself before looking for love and approval from other people. In this way, you change into someone who doesn't need recognition but easily gets it. Epictetus, who was also a Stoic philosopher, said that we should focus on what we can control, like our deeds, our goals, and how we manage life's problems. He said, "We can't change the outside circumstances that affect us, but we can always change how we react to them." In the context of your own life, this means that you shouldn't let how other people treat you or see you affect your happiness too much. Instead, work on making your life full of things that make you happy. In real life, living your own life means doing things you enjoy, like following a skill, moving up in your job, or spending time with supportive friends and family. You have to make goals for yourself and work toward them. When you live a full and interesting life, other people want to be a part of it. They don't see you as someone who always needs help or approval. They see you as someone who adds worth and joy. To sum up, Having your own life means being independent and finding happiness in the things you do and the things you achieve on your own. It means being happy with who you are and what you have, which makes you more appealing to other people. Other people will naturally want to include and value you in their own lives when you live a full life on your own. Rule 6. Put your own needs first. To become important in other people's lives, the 6th rule is to put your own needs first. This rule stresses how important it is to take care of yourself and respect yourself. It means realizing that taking care of yourself is not selfish. It's important. When you take care of and respect your own needs, you give off an air of confidence and worthiness that makes people want to be around you. Marcus Aurelius, a famous Stoic philosopher, talked about how important it is to control yourself and have inner strength. He said, "You have power over your mind, not over outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This strong statement shows how important it is to pay attention to your own needs. It serves as a reminder that while we have no control over how other people treat us, we do have control over how we handle ourselves. For control over your life and well-being, put your own wants first. Seneca, who was also a Stoic philosopher, stressed how important it was to be independent and able to rely on oneself. He thought that we should be happy inside and not depend too much on other people to make us feel good about ourselves or make us happy. He taught that the key to a healthy and happy life is to find happiness within ourselves. Epictetus also had some good things to say about this subject. "I think it's important to think about the things we can control, like what we do and how we react. We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them," he said. When it comes to putting your own needs first, this means being responsible for your own happiness and well-being instead of relying on other people to do those things for you. In real life, putting your own needs first means setting limits in your relationships and making sure you don't always put the needs of others ahead of your own. It means setting aside time for yourself, whether it's for fun, rest, or growth. It's about making decisions that are good for your health and happiness, even if that means telling other people no sometimes. In short, putting your own wants first means knowing and honoring your own worth. It's about caring for your mind and body. When you do this, you not only make your own life more satisfying, but you also make the lives of others more beautiful and valued. People will value you more if you show them that you value yourself. Rule 7. Take your time and be present. Value your time and appearance. This is the 7th rule for becoming important in other people's lives. This means being aware that your time and attention are valuable and shouldn't be given away without thinking. That your time and attention are important gifts that you choose to share shows that you have your own life, hobbies, and responsibilities. The great Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius said that people should value their own time. As the saying goes, "Do not act as if you had 1,000 years to live." This helps us remember that time is limited and important, so we should make the most of it. You show that your presence is not something to be taken for granted when you choose how and with whom you spend your time. Seneca also talked about how important time is. "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it," he famously said. This shows how important it is to be aware of how we spend our time. By not being available all the time, you show that you value your time, which makes other people value it too. Epictetus was another Stoic thinker who thought that we should focus on what we can control. He told us to do things with our time that would make our lives better and more interesting. Regarding appreciating your time, this means doing things that are important to you and only spending your time with people who value and respect it. If you value your time, you won't always say yes to every request or offer. You should set your own goals and plan, and you should choose how to spend your time on purpose. It means making sure that your needs are met, while also considering the needs of others. This way, you won't always be last on your own list. To sum up, respecting your time and presence means knowing how valuable you are and letting your actions show it. It's important to be there when it matters, but you should also make time for yourself and the things you enjoy. This way of acting makes you more useful and sought after, which helps other people put you first in their lives. Rule 8. Start a conversation with balance. Rule 8 for becoming important in other people's lives is all about finding the right mix when you first talk to them. This rule says that you shouldn't always start talks or make plans. Letting other people take the lead shows that you value your own time and hobbies, and it gives them a chance to show that they value and are interested in you too. Marcus Aurelius, a wise Stoic philosopher, once said, "The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing." This quote fits this topic because it shows that relationships, like life itself, take work, flexibility, and not always being in charge. In talking to someone, this means stepping back and letting them speak first. It's about finding a balance so that both people in the relationship give something to it. This rule is also in line with what Seneca taught. He thought it was important to be independent and not depend on other people for your happiness. By not always making the first move, you show that the other person is not the only thing that makes you happy and gives you a sense of worth. This way also lets them miss you and get in touch with you, which shows that they value having you in their lives. Epictetus talked about how important it is to be self-disciplined and able to control what we do. According to our rule, he said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we can listen twice as much as we speak." This means that it's important to listen and give room when communicating, rather than always speaking or acting to fill the silence. Find a balance between talking and listening, starting a conversation, and waiting for someone to do so. When you follow this rule, you should think about how often you're reaching out first. It's fine to reach out, but also give the other person a chance to do the same. This doesn't mean keeping score or playing games. It means making the connection healthy so that both people feel like they have an equal stake in it. To sum up, balance when you start a conversation means giving others time and space to show that they are interested in and invested in you. It's a way to make sure that the connection is good for both people and that everyone is involved. You become more important in each other's lives, and your relationship is more satisfying when you find this balance. Rule 9. Keep your emotions in check. Rule 9 for becoming important in other people's lives is to keep your personal connections in check. This rule encourages us to put good amounts of mental energy into our interactions. It means that we shouldn't let our feelings fully control how we act around other people, but instead should learn to control them in a way that helps us respect ourselves and each other. Marcus Aurelius, a famously wise Stoic philosopher, taught people how to control their emotions and think logically. "The best revenge is to be unlike the person who did you wrong," he said. In terms of emotional balance, this means not reacting to events emotionally or quickly, but instead answering in a calm, thought-out way. Following this method helps you avoid getting too attached or mentally overloaded in relationships too quickly. Another Stoic philosopher, Seneca, stressed the significance of having emotional control. He said, "He suffers more than necessary who suffers before it is necessary." This quote shows how important it is to not let worry or emotional outbursts control what we do. In relationships, this means letting them grow freely without putting too much emotional weight on them too soon. Epictetus also talked about how important it is to control our responses. When it comes to emotional balance, he said, "What matters is not what happens to you, but how you react to it." This means that while we can't control how other people act in a relationship, we can control how much we let it affect us. It's not about being cool or detached. It's about keeping a healthy emotional space while you figure out how much you both care about and respect the relationship. To put this rule into practice, you should be aware of how quickly and deeply you get mentally involved with someone. You should spend time getting to know the other person and let the friendship grow at a good rate. This method not only keeps you from getting hurt emotionally, but it also makes you more appealing because it shows that you care about yourself and the emotional health of your relationships. To sum up, keeping your emotions in check means being smart about how you spend your emotional energy. It's about not getting attached too quickly and instead letting them grow on their own. This balanced approach makes you a more stable and attractive partner, which increases the chances that someone will put you first in their life. Rule 10. Be ready to leave. Being able to walk away from relationships or situations that don't respect or value you is the 10th and final rule for becoming important to other people. This rule tells you to know your worth and not be afraid to leave a relationship that isn't good for you. People will know that you won't settle for less than you deserve because of this strong statement of self-respect and self-care. Marcus Aurelius, a wise Stoic philosopher, talked about how important it is to treat yourself with respect and dignity. What he said was very important. Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. This quote emphasizes that our happiness and sense of worth come from within and are not based on things like relationships outside of us. Seneca, who was also a Stoic, said that respecting yourself was very important. If you want to be loved, love, he said. This means that we should love and respect ourselves before looking for love and approval from other people. Titus the Epic told us how important it is to be independent and able to rely on yourself. His view was that our happiness shouldn't depend on our ties with other people. For our rule, this means being ready to end interactions with people who don't value or respect you. In real life, this could mean stopping a friendship or a connection that is unfair or makes you feel bad. Limiting people in your family or workplace who don't treat you with respect could also be part of this. It takes guts to leave situations that are harmful or don't make you happy, but it's important for your mental health and self-respect to do so. People will know that you value yourself and expect to be treated with respect and honor if you are ready to end relationships that don't serve you. This can be very attractive, and it can help people have better, stronger relationships in the future. Being ready to walk away means you know how valuable you are and won't settle for less than you earn. It means being brave enough to put your own health and self-respect first, even if that means ending relationships that aren't good for you. This way of doing things not only keeps you safe, but it also makes you more appealing and important to other people. There you have it, the 10 rules for becoming important to other people. Mastering the art of mystery, showing your worth, making your own happiness, being valuable and letting others invest in you, living your own life, putting your own needs first, appreciating your time and presence, starting conversations in a balanced way, keeping your emotions in check, and being ready to walk away when needed can make you someone that people naturally value and cherish. Remember that becoming attractive doesn't mean changing who you are. It means making the great person you already are even better. Now, change your story by following one strong rule at a time. There are people in the world that the Stoics said we shouldn't hang out with. These people are bad for you and can make your life hard. Now I'll talk about 15 types of people that Stoicism tells us not to be around. Furthermore, if you see that some people in your life are acting in these ways right now, get rid of them right away. The flatterer is number 1. Stoics warn us about the flatterer as a bad person type. Someone is giving us fake comments and praise because they want something from us, not because they really like us. They want our favor for a different reason than just being nice to us. Stoics tell us to be wary of people who try to trick us with false praise and see through their tricks. A genuine compliment is one thing, but when someone praises you too much, it's likely that they have a plan. The person who flatters us might want to get a favor from us, gain power or influence by getting our approval, or just feel good about themselves by making us like them. Whatever the flatterer wants to achieve, their over-the-top praise is only a way for them to get what they want, and not a true picture of our qualities. Stoics tell us not to fall for these tricks. We should think about why someone is flattering us too much and be careful not to trust their words too much or give them what they want. No good comes from fake praise. It's smart to see through the flattery and figure out what the flatterer really wants. The greedy is number 2. The greedy are another bad personality trait that the Stoics tell us to avoid. These are people who are obsessed with money and material things. They make bad decisions and aren't trustworthy because they are so greedy. For people who are greedy, life is all about getting more money, stuff, and status symbols. Even though they are already wealthy, they always want more and never feel like they have enough. Their greed is unbearable. To get more money and things, they will lie, cheat, and step on other people. For greedy people, life is a zero-sum game where everyone loses when they get more. They don't want to share because they want everything as their own. They feel very unsafe because they are greedy. They are never happy no matter how much money they have. Stoics know that greed comes from thinking that things are limited. Greedy people are never happy because they always feel like they need something. This hurts their dignity and peace of mind. Stoics tell us not to let greed take over our lives. Being content with what you have and focused on things that really matter, like character, knowledge, and peace, gives you a lot of freedom. Those who are greedy put things like money and belongings ahead of virtue and peace of mind. Their judgment is clouded by their constant desires. Stoics tell us not to be greedy or envious of rich people. There is no such thing as better than more. Finding happiness doesn't come from getting things from other people. Third, there are the envious. Stoics say that people who are jealous are also bad people that we should avoid and not be like. People in this group dislike other people's skills, wins, or belongings. They are always wanting what other people have. People who are jealous feel that someone else's success is unfair to them. They think there isn't enough for everyone and that life is a zero-sum game. This makes them feel like what other people get is less important than what they actually get. This makes people who are jealous, angry, insecure, and greedy. Because of these feelings, they try to bring down the people they envy. The person who is jealous will try to downplay other people's skills, say that their success is just luck or favor, and spread bad stories about them. In short, they try to put down people they think are better than them. People who are jealous are also mean. Because they can't stand it when other people do well, they try to stop them instead of being inspired by their success. Because someone is jealous, they say mean things, give false praise, and privately enjoy it when the person they are jealous of has bad luck. Stoics believe that envy is a kind of moral weakness that people can't help but have when they don't know better. They do say, though, that we can choose not to act out of envy. It is smart to feel good about other people and enjoy their achievements instead of being angry at them. Instead of getting into the mistake of envy, we should be motivated by other people's skills to improve our own. Fourth, there are the angry. Another personality type that Stoics warn against is someone who is always angry. These people often lose their temper, are angry, and want to get even. They lose control of their anger and can't think straight. The angry person gets easily upset by small things, whether they are real or imagined. They are quick to get angry and see everything other people do or say in the worst possible light. They hold a grudge for a long time and won't forget or let go. For Stoics, anger came from wanting something but not being able to get it and feeling useless. Feeling angry means someone thinks the world is not giving them what they deserve. This makes you angry and makes you want to hurt someone. Their way of taking control is through anger and revenge. When someone is angry, they can't think straight or do anything useful. Their anger makes it hard for them to think clearly. They are likely to act and talk badly because they are angry, which will make things worse instead of better. Stoics say that we shouldn't be like angry people. Even though we may not want to be angry, we can choose what to do when we feel it. When we're upset, it's smart to take a moment to think about what's going on. To become angry only makes our lives worse. It is better to act with self-control and common sense than with small complaints and anger. Epictetus said, "Anyone who can make you mad becomes your master." The fifth person is the complainer. Stoics say that another annoying personality trait we should try to avoid is being a constant complainer. Complainers are always negative and complaining about their situations. Unfortunately, they bring sadness instead of happiness. The person who is complaining is unhappy with almost everything, including the weather, the government, their job, and their romantic relationships. Even small flaws can feel like huge problems. It seems like the complainer never thinks things are good enough. The person who is complaining doesn't do anything useful. They just whine. They act like they have no control over things when they could do something to make things better. The person who is complaining wants other people to feel sorry for them and often spreads their complaints widely to get attention. This leads to depression that makes them and those around them feel bad. Complainers don't understand that letting off steam only makes them more unhappy. This way of thinking is harmful. If you want to get better, be happy to look clueless or stupid in unimportant things, said Epictetus. The Stoics teach us not to be like people who complain. Even though we may be having problems, complaining too much only makes things worse for ourselves. Instead of drowning in negative, it's much smarter to focus on making the best of what we can control and doing positive things. Despite the fact that difficulties are unavoidable, we can choose to respond to them with insight and resilience or with pointless whining. Sixth, feeling sorry for yourself. The Stoics warn us not to be like people who are always feeling sorry for themselves. It seems like these people are stuck in their own pain and always act like they are victims. The person who is feeling sorry for themselves doesn't take responsibility for their situation. They put the blame for their problems on fate, other people, the world, and anything else but themselves. They think, "Poor, poor me. I deserve better than this unfair world." This makes them feel helpless and angry. The person who feels sorry for themselves wants others to comfort them and make things right. They spread sad stories to get people to feel sorry for them and reassure them that they are not to blame. That person, however, stays stuck in their act of sadness. By acting like a victim, they avoid taking responsibility and the need to make things better. They are too focused on themselves to care about what other people may be going through. The Stoics say that we shouldn't feel sorry for ourselves. They say that you should look at the ups and downs of life in a fair way. We shouldn't wallow in our problems when they happen. Instead, we should concentrate on what we can control and strengthen our resilience, not see ourselves as slaves. We choose whether to deal with problems in a mature or over-the-top way. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Begin each day by telling yourself, 'Today I shall meet with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness, all due to the offender's ignorance of what is good and evil.'" The seventh one is the haughty. Stoicism also warns against confidence as a personality trait that is bad. The arrogant think they are more important and better than other people than they really are. Their pride gets in the way of seeing their flaws and where they really stand. This person thinks they are always right, the best at what they do, and deserve extra attention. They believe that their skills, knowledge, position, and rights make them better than others. Because of this, they talk down to other people and think that criticism or advice is below them. An attitude of pride leads to hatred, disrespect, and aggression toward people who are seen as less important. The cocky person can't see their flaws or mistakes because it would hurt their unrealistic view of themselves. Their pride doesn't let them be humble or think about themselves. The proud can't be taught this way. They ignore helpful criticism that could help them get better or show that they care. They also have trouble making real relationships because being treated as equal doesn't meet their needs for control and approval. Stoics say that being proud is a bad thing to do. They tell us to be humble and understand that we are people and can make mistakes. Living a good life should give us pride, not making ourselves seem more important than they are. "You have no right to pass judgment on others at all," said Marcus Aurelius. "Their dispositions have become as they are under compulsion of character and necessity." There is one more type, the selfish. Stoic lessons also talk about the selfish person as a personality type that can be problematic. These people care only about themselves and don't think about how their acts affect other people. The selfish person usually thinks about what's in it for me and bases their decisions on how they can help themselves. They work toward their own goals without thinking about how their actions might affect other people. People who are selfish do things like take advantage of others, ignore their needs, break promises, and avoid tasks that don't help them right away. They don't see a problem with getting ahead at other people's cost. Their selfishness keeps them from seeing their social responsibilities. This makes you look like you're not trustworthy or reliable. In the short term, the selfish person may get what they want, but in the long run, they lose relationships and respect. Their distrust and use of others lead to conflict and loneliness. They do not get the satisfaction that comes from caring for and helping each other. Stoics warn that being selfish is a road that leads nowhere. We are social beings who should live together without fighting. It has more value to try to make other people better than to try to make yourself better. What brings a person tranquility is to do what's right and to be focused on the well-being of his fellow man. Marcus Aurelius said, "The ninth is the stubborn." Stoic thought also talks about the stubborn person as a personality type that can cause problems. These people are set in their ways and won't listen to reason or make concessions. It's hard to deal with them because they are rigid. The person who is stubborn will not give up until they get what they want. They can't or won't think about other points of view, suggestions, or options. They will not change their minds, even if there is clear evidence to the contrary. This makes people unwilling to change or grow. Someone who is stubborn would rather keep doing stupid things than change their minds and admit they were wrong. If they wanted to take a more considered approach, they would have to stop sticking to their beliefs and open their thoughts. The stubborn person can't bend to meet the needs of others in relationships and work situations because they are so set in their ways. Everything turns into a battle for power instead of a trade. They are the only ones who can do it. This makes people less friendly. Stoicism shows how silly it is to be overly rigid. While having beliefs is important, the smart know how to apply them in a way that makes sense and is done with care. We hurt ourselves when we don't change with the times or listen to what other people have to say. Truth and progress should be our goals, not holding on tight to a weak ego. 10th up is the insensitive. They don't think about how their words and deeds affect other people and don't have empathy. The person who is insensitive doesn't read social cues or see things from other people's points of view. Insensitive to what might hurt, offend, or upset someone. They rush through their plans without thinking about what might happen. This lack of empathy leads to hurt and anger. People who are indifferent hurt others' feelings, make them angry, and make other people feel like they are not important. But those who are ignorant don't seem to care about or notice the harm that is being done. Their actions don't make them think about how to be more careful and tactful. People tend to dislike them because they are mean and don't care about others. Humor that is mean, harsh criticism, and careless disrespect all break down trust and kindness. People don't feel safe being open around an uncaring person, so their interactions stay thin. Greater understanding, kindness, and caring in our actions are encouraged by Stoicism. Unfortunately, we can't control how other people treat us, but we should always try to be kind and thoughtful. Lack of thought leads to disagreements and loneliness, while thinking leads to community and understanding. A wrongdoer is often unaware that he is doing wrong, said Marcus Aurelius. The 11th is the cynical. In Stoic thought, the cynic is another personality type that is bad. Cynical people think that people who are sincere, idealistic, or good are stupid or gullible. Their constant doubt destroys hope and society. A cynic always thinks the worst of people, even when they are doing something good. They think that no one really lives by ideals like honesty, kindness, and altruism, so they look down on them. A cynic always looks down on others and doesn't trust them. This negative attitude comes from being let down and is meant to protect their ego. If a cynic doesn't believe in virtue, they don't have to feel foolish for believing in it or let down when it fails. However, their doubts make things worse and push people away, which reinforces what they doubt. Others don't like the cynic's mean comments and constant doubt. Their rude humor and unwillingness to accept the best in people hurt relationships. They are protective, but their anger is also sad because they feel cheated of good things. Stoicism tells us that even though bad things happen, we should still believe in our ability to be good and virtuous as a whole. It takes away our ability to make the world a better place when we are cynical. We should be upset, but we should stay open to truth and work together to make the world a more fair and caring place. According to Marcus Aurelius, when you wake up at 6 in the morning, tell yourself, "Today I shall meet with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness, all due to the offender's ignorance of what is good and evil." The 12th is the manipulative. Persons who manipulate others do so for their own benefit. They can't be trusted because they lie. The cunning person uses exchanges like board games to plan how to get ahead. They make plans for how to turn people against each other, change things to help themselves, gain power through fake partnerships, and force results to go their way. The trickster is smart, but not trustworthy because of this cruel math. They try to show that they are kind and honest, but behind that is their own selfish goal. The operator only makes surface connections with people and then drops them when they are no longer useful. Connection is never more important than their goals. This selfish way of dealing with relationships will always fail. Using sneaky plans, the trickster may win some short-term successes, but their lying and breaking trust will catch up with them in the end. When people see through a manipulator's act, they no longer want to be used. Stoics know that lying and taking advantage of others will fail in the end and judge the person who did it. Being honest and respectful to others, seeing them as people with worth and not as tools, is the only moral and smart thing to do. Manipulation can never lead to real teamwork. The 13th is the reckless. These people take risks that aren't necessary and don't think about what will happen. They put themselves and others in danger by not being careful. Someone who is careless loves taking risks and pushing the limits without thinking about it first. They enjoy risking stupid amounts of money, ignoring warning signs, and doing dangerous things without taking any safety measures. The way they act makes it look like they don't fully follow the rules. In the long run, this carelessness leads to disaster. People who are careless cause problems that could have been avoided with caution and self-control. People who don't follow through with their bad decisions are hurt by their lack of discipline, not just themselves. Still, the careless person doesn't learn, even when their carelessness hurts others. They try to explain away their mistakes, avoid taking responsibility, and keep giving in to their whims. By thinking about their mistakes, they don't grow wiser. Stoicism encourages people to live logically and not carelessly. When it comes to real daring, confidence is tempered with reason to produce virtue instead of risk. In the end, being careless doesn't help anyone. To be responsible to others and to ourselves, we need to be able to control our actions, deal with the results, and learn from our mistakes. Seneca said, "Rushing is the worst thing that can happen." 14. The lack of morals. These people don't have any morals or ethics. If they want what they want, they will do anything to get it. Someone who doesn't have any morals doesn't feel bound by ideas of right and wrong. To get what they want, they are ready to lie, cheat, steal, betray, break agreements, and hurt other people. In their mind, the end always justifies the means. A mindset of anything goes is created. A person without morals or ethics doesn't have any inner sense of right and wrong. They have no problem tricking people who trust them or taking advantage of their weaknesses to get what they want. Others are just things that get in the way or are used. This dishonest method will always fail. When someone's dishonesty comes to light, they are no longer trustworthy and are looked down upon. Their dishonest actions hurt many people and leave a trail of disappointment. What little success they have isn't worth much. According to Stoicism, the only way to really succeed is to work toward good things. Moral character lasts forever, even if your worldly goals change. Before we can give up our inner values, we have to be ready to lose everything else. People who don't have morals don't have anything of real value. A branch cut off from the branch next to it is cut off from the whole tree at the same time, said Marcus Aurelius. The vicious is number 15. The last type of harmful personality that Stoicism worries about is the vicious person. These mean people enjoy being mean, controlling, and hurting other people. They are very dangerous because they are cruel. Someone who is mean thinks that kindness is weakness and gets pleasure from hurting others. They're bullies who scare weak people to show their power, or they torture their targets mentally and emotionally in a sneaky way. Their violence comes from a deep sense of sadness and fear. This purposeful destructiveness makes the person's group and relationships worse. People fear and don't trust them because they are cruel and take advantage of weak people. They leave hurt and hopeless marks behind them. Their hate is a sickness of the soul that spreads to everyone they come in touch with. Stoicism says that because we are social beings, our fates are linked. When we hurt others, we hurt ourselves in the end. We need to strongly fight the urge to be mean for no reason, because it hurts people's relationships and sense of worth. Being strong means helping other people feel better through understanding and care. When in power, the mean people are a very serious danger. As Stoics, we are told to give up and watch out for people who enjoy hurting others. In a healthy culture, there is no room for bad behavior. To hurt others is to hurt yourself, said Marcus Aurelius. People who are mean may seem to win in the short term by being bad, but they lose their humanity in the process. Have you ever been slammed against a door and later realized that it was probably the best thing that could have happened? Today, we're going to learn a lot about how to get over being turned down, with ideas from the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius. Imagine a world where every no doesn't stop you, but instead makes you want to move forward. Rejection is a word that most people connect with pain, but it can actually help you become great. Instead of trying to trick fate, You should understand that the universe's refusal is sometimes a hidden call to something bigger. Have you ever felt like no one noticed, cared about, or appreciated what you did? It's time to change the story. I will now break down 13 important lessons that will help you use the power of rejection to your advantage. These are not just academic thoughts. They are plans that can be put into action based on real-life examples. Let's start this life-changing journey together, ready to turn our biggest losses into our biggest wins. Don't care about them either. When life gives you the cold shoulder of indifference, don't shrink back. Rise above it. Ignoring people who don't care about you isn't a small thing. It's a strong sign of your self-worth. Think about this. If someone doesn't want to spend time with you, that's their loss, not yours. "I deserve more" is what you're saying when you choose not to participate. It's like shining a mirror back at them, showing them how they act without changing it. Now the question is how to do this without becoming angry. Just turn your attention to your own health and life goals. Do things that make you feel better, like reading, sports, learning new things, or just spending time with people who care about you. Using the pain of rejection to fuel personal growth and building a wall of self-respect that blocks out indifference is what it's all about. This method isn't just about getting through rejection, it's about living. It shows mental growth and inner power and reinforces the idea that your worth doesn't depend on what other people think of you. Be true to yourself and let your deeds speak louder than words. Don't react emotionally. Being turned down can hurt, making you want to move without thinking. Stoicism, on the other hand, gives us a different view. Instead of giving in to anger or sadness, try to stay calm. Do not dwell on it and fight the desire to seek approval or vent your anger. Stoicism instructs us to respond calmly and carefully. You don't have to hide your feelings, you have to learn to control them. When you are forgotten, take a step back and think about what happened. Most of the time, our fears are what hurt us the most, not the rejection itself. Pay attention to what you do and how you react, not what other people do. Keep being polite and kind, even if you want to talk to them. Let your answers be real and free of assumptions. This way of doing things doesn't mean inaction, it means mental control. Realizing that your sense of self-worth doesn't depend on other people's approval, but on how you handle being turned down. Learning to stay calm when you're rejected isn't just a way to survive, it's a way to thrive. As you work on building your self-confidence, outside approval doesn't matter. When you think this way, you give off an aura of power and resilience that makes people want to be around you. Take them out of your mind. Being able to separate yourself from someone is very helpful when you've been rejected. Recognize how the rejection made you feel, but don't let it take over your thoughts. Instead of seeing rejection as a problem, see it as a sign that points you in the direction of new possibilities. Turn the experience into energy that can change you, and you'll be able to handle rough seas with skill and ease. Do things that make you feel good and help you see new things. See each new event as a way to learn more about yourself. Gather people who make you feel good and give you ideas to make your circle of happiness stronger. These kinds of exchanges help each other grow and remind you that failure doesn't define your worth, but rather a chance to find yourself again and start over. Every new thing you do makes you stronger and more tough, ready to face the problems of life with unwavering determination. Show what you're worth. Instead of giving up when you're rejected, see it as a chance to show your resilience. When you feel ignored or pushed to the side, put your energy into doing something positive. Show off your skills through important projects and efforts, without worrying about what other people think. Know that being turned down doesn't mean you're not good enough. It just means you need to look for chances that fit your skills and interests better. Accept failures as opportunities to make things right, and weave a success story based on your persistence and drive. When you show kindness and understanding, you come out of failure stronger and smarter, ready to start over with more energy. Being turned down isn't the end of your story. It's a key part of your path to personal growth and happiness. Cut off contact. When someone rejects you, silence can help you deal with your feelings. Instead of giving in to the desire to talk or make peace, trust the power of quiet. Think of this time without touch as a smart restart. Reaffirm your worth and put your mental peace first. You demonstrate your worth and resilience by keeping mental space, demonstrating that your happiness is not dependent on what other people think of you. You're not being passive when you're quiet. It's an active statement of self-respect and confidence. Even though it might not change the way other people act, it will definitely change you deeply, making you stronger and ready for any obstacles that lie ahead. Prove them wrong. The art of exploiting rejection isn't just showing other people wrong, it's also about reminding yourself of your own abilities. Turn no into fuel for growth and make a promise to go beyond what you think are your limits. Focus on improving your skills and abilities, not to get approval from other people, but for your own happiness. Let your deeds say a lot about your skills and drive without saying a word. You don't have to tell people about your growth. Let your accomplishments do the talking. Your journey to improve yourself isn't a fight against how other people see you. It's a sign of your unwavering dedication to doing your best. You can come out of failure stronger and more sure of yourself than ever before if you change how you see yourself and learn what you're really capable of. Going out and having fun is a bold act of resilience when you're being turned down. Instead of isolating yourself, go out of your way to find things that make you happy and fulfilled. Don't let the idea that being rejected should bring you down. Instead, look for times of happiness and connection. Do things that make you happy and help you connect with other people in a useful way. Accept what you don't know and see failure not as a closed door, but as a chance to find new things. Your life is improved by each new experience, which also strengthens your resilience and flexibility. You find your place in the world through shared laughter and experiences. This helps you remember that rejection is only a temporary setback on the way to greater happiness. Build your social status. Stoicism tells us to see failure as a chance to grow as a person and get involved in our community. Instead of looking for approval, work on improving yourself and making relationships with other people that matter. Think of things like working out and helping out in your neighborhood as ways to improve your health and the health of others. Build relationships based on mutual respect and shared values. This will help you find your way as you go through the process of self-discovery. It's not about moving up the social ladder, it's about getting better at being yourself. A group built on resilience and sensitivity is formed when everyone's goals are aligned with the quest of self-improvement. Don't act like they're there. The most powerful reaction to someone who doesn't care is often one of quiet strength. Avoid wasting your time and energy on people who don't notice you, and instead focus on those who do. Be polite and efficient when you have to deal with someone, but don't put mental energy into situations where only one person benefits. You show that your time and attention are important by putting your health first and looking for worthwhile relationships. Deciding not to do something pointless is not a sign of weakness. It shows that you have self-respect and good judgment. Accept that going away can be powerful and that your energy is better spent on things and people that help you grow and be happy. Don't say anything. If someone doesn't care about what you have to say, choosing to be quiet shows that you respect yourself and your honor. Instead of looking for approval or revenge, choose to keep your peace by intentionally thinking about yourself and controlling your emotions. Take advantage of quiet times to think about yourself and grow as a person. Now is the time to remind yourself of your ideals, build your character, and make sure your actions are in line with your beliefs. Being quiet doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're strong and calm inside. By not responding, you show that you are independent and don't want to be drawn into pointless conversations. In the end, silence turns out to be a strong way to keep your emotions in check and encourage honest self-expression. It's a warning that your worth comes from knowing and respecting yourself, not from what other people think of you. Don't ask for attention. Stoicism tells us to stay rooted in our own sense of self-worth, regardless of how other people see us. Instead of looking for praise from other people, work on finding happiness inside by growing as a person and learning more about yourself. Do things that are in line with your ideals and hobbies, and put sincerity ahead of short-term attention. You're not trying to prove other people wrong on your path to self-improvement. Instead, you're accepting your own skills and goals. Don't give in to the urge to act for other people's approval. Real confidence comes from inside. By focusing on your own growth and happiness, you can define success on your own terms without having to worry about what other people think. Be kind, but emotionally distant. If you want to deal with indifference, choose kindness as your driving principle and keep your emotional distance. Respect and care for others, even if they don't deserve it, but protect your own peace of mind and mental health. Accept mental space as a way to protect yourself and your character, and refuse to let other people's actions or attitudes define you. By being kind without expecting anything in return, you show that you have strong character and confidence in yourself. Keep in mind that emotional space is not the same as aloofness or separation. It is a choice to put your mental and emotional health first. Stoic ideals teach us that there is a fine line between caring about others and protecting oneself. Don't tell anyone about your struggle. Don't give in to the urge to tell everyone about your problems or look for approval from other people. Instead, keep your cool and honor even when things go wrong, following the rules of silent resilience. Recognize your feelings, but don't let them control how you act or make you doubt your own self-worth. You can feel your inner strength and resilience when you handle rejection with ease and poise. Adopt the Stoic theory of mental resilience and know that the real power is in staying true to yourself and your values. When things go wrong in life, how you handle failure shows how strong you are and how committed you are to growing as a person. The Stoics also knew that people would be turned down sometimes. They also trained and got ready, and they knew this could happen. When things are out of their control, Stoics never let their hopes get too high. They have gone over the worst-case situation in their minds. They are okay with whatever happens, even if it doesn't go the way they thought it would. So, this is the short-term reaction to something, not surprised by it, not too upset about it. For example, Seneca would start each day by going over his plans, like going on a trip, and then he would think about all the things that could go wrong or stop it from happening. There could be a storm, the captain could get sick, or pirates could attack the ship. He told a friend, "Nothing happens to the wise man that he doesn't expect, nor do all things turn out for him as he wished, but as he reckoned, and above all, he reckoned that something could block his plans." Seneca was always ready for problems to happen because he did this exercise. He also always planned for those problems to happen. It was up to him whether he won or lost. And let's be honest, a good surprise is better than a bad one. The act of overthinking is harmful to the mind. It gets into our thoughts through our doubt and moves around like a bug. It makes people less tough and more likely to doubt and feel sorrow. Here are 15 lessons from Stoicism that will help you stop thinking too much. First, keep your mind on what you want to achieve. When you start to think too much about something, Bring your attention back to how your actions are related to your goals. If you find that you are thinking too much about something, stop and ask yourself what you want to get out of this. What would be a good thing to do in this situation? Instead of thinking in circles, you should focus on getting things done. For instance, if you find yourself thinking too much about whether someone likes you, try thinking about how to build more satisfying relationships or boost your confidence. Stop making too many plans and go back to taking a first step that isn't right. Focusing on actions that are in line with your values over and over again breaks the cycle of ruminating by removing the distractions and standards that feed it. You connect with a goal. Of course, make a plan and think carefully about your choices, but don't let your thinking stop you from achieving your goals by giving you doubts and reasons not to. Hold on to good goals. Throw out the analysis. Marcus Aurelius said, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your way of thinking." Instead of thinking about things over and over again, try thinking about how to live a meaningful life. Number 2, know that some things aren't certain. Nothing you think can always make things certain. When you learn to stay steady in the face of uncertainty, you stop overthinking. Think about how overthinking is often caused by wanting to be sure before moving or letting go, but some things are inherently unsure. It's frustrating to want clear answers in scenarios that aren't clear to begin with. Learn how to deal with confusion without needing complete knowledge before moving forward. Do what makes sense and make changes as new information comes in. Analysis. Paralysis stops people from acting. Acting makes you smarter. If you find yourself overthinking something, take a moment to ask yourself, have I really thought about this enough for now? Is thinking more helpful, or is it just a way to avoid the discomfort of the unknown? What little thing can I do to get better? Of course, use your common sense to prepare as carefully as you can, but stop trying to think your way to complete clarity and control. Make friends with the unknown without shutting down. Slowly move forward while being open to unknown. Overthinking makes this fact harder to see. As Socrates said, "Wisdom comes from understanding what we do not know." Stay open, thoughtful, and steady in your steps, even if you don't know what will happen. Third, live in the present. When you're not centered in the present, over-analysis grows. Pay attention to when your thoughts change the present moment. If you find yourself thinking about old mistakes or talks or scary situations, slowly bring your attention back to your senses and the world around you. Without making up a story, fully experience your body and the world around you right now. Pay attention to the sights, sounds, and feelings that are happening right now. Before the mind starts to think, the present is always calm. Mindfulness meditation will help you be able to observe your thoughts without judging them, and then bring your attention back to the present moment. As you keep coming back to the present, overthinking becomes less effective. Practical planning is important, but don't get stuck on changing the past or the future that you can't see. Instead, focus on doing the best you can right now. What can you do right now? Fourth, keep in mind that you have no control over other people's views. The way they judge you says more about them than about you. Keep things in perspective when you find yourself thinking too much about a talk or exchange. It could be because you want to control what other people think of you. How they see you doesn't decide your worth or path. You can thoughtfully think about feedback to figure out what you could do better, but don't try to change things like your image by worrying all the time. Accept that you can't change this. Marcus Aurelius said, "Nothing should be done impulsively, and nothing should be refused obstinately." Have beliefs, but don't be strict about how other people see you. Be kind to people and talk to them with care, but know that you can't make them see things your way. Just make sure your words and deeds are in line with what is wise. Don't worry about first impressions. Things like praise, wealth, and fame don't really matter when it comes to your worth and purpose. Give things that will go away no power over your peace of mind. Instead of trying to get acceptance, work on being stable inside. 5. See problems as chances to learn and grow. How we see events, not just what's going on around us, has a big impact on how we feel. By changing your thinking, reframing changes reality. Pay attention to when you automatically see failures as problems that make you feel pessimistic. Stop and carefully look at the situation again, trying to find possible good things hidden in the problems. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How could this problem be a chance to make things better? What mental toughness will I need to get through this build? What strengths can I use? Of course, you should recognize and accept problems as they come up without passing judgment. But then you should look for the good things that come from each problem. Like an onion, peel off layers that open your eyes until you find the growth. Resilience is developed when one views problems as opportunities rather than problems that must be fixed. You stay driven because you know that problems are what make you smarter and more likable. Look at the bright side. Epictetus said, "Difficulties are things that show a person what they are." See problems as useful feedback that shows you your blind spots and ways you can improve yourself. Every task is a goldmine for your mind. 6th, don't put things off. Instead of putting things off because you're worried or want to be great, do what you need to do quickly and clearly. When you find yourself putting off a scary job, take a moment to think about why you're putting it off. Are you trying to avoid pain and find beauty that you can't reach? Find the holdups. Breaking down big goals into small, doable jobs can help you stop putting things off. List steps A, B, and C. Do step A before you think about step B. Every step adds to the energy. To get people to act quickly, set limits instead of letting themselves get stuck in analysis paralysis. Expect things to go wrong and make changes later. For now, just get going. Not perfection, but progress. Of course, you should think about what will happen before you act to avoid being careless. But don't let being careful turn into a never-ending wait. Get past the problems that are stopping you from making your choices. It was Marcus Aurelius who said, "Think of yourself as dead. You have lived your life. Now take what's left and live it properly." The fact that death is inevitable makes us not wait. Do what's right. Do what nature and reason tell you to do. If you find yourself overthinking something, ask yourself what a smart person would tell you right now. Think about facts like change, doubt, and being linked to everything else. Don't try to change the way life works. Let go of your scary thoughts about how you wish things were. Pay attention to your feelings and what you're telling your body. Nature's rules are stronger than what a worried mind wants. Anchor yourself in its undeniable presence. Also, think about what makes you human and how to satisfy that need. Trying to learn more, helping others, and reaching your full potential. Think about your deepest ideals instead of worrying about small things. Of course, you should plan and improve things in a way that is consistent with your values. But overthinking can lead to problems because it goes against how things are in the real world. Bring yourself into line with the universe's flow. According to Marcus Aurelius, live a good life. If there are gods and they are just, then they will not care how devout you have been, but will welcome you based on the virtues you have lived by. If there are gods but unjust, then you should not want to worship them. If there are no gods, then you will be gone, but will have lived a noble life that will live on in the memories of your loved ones. Trust reason and nature. 8th, be smart about the company you choose. Think about how the people you spend time with affect you. Do some family and friends make you think in unhealthy ways by complaining or teasing too much? Spend your time with stable, positive people who care about the same things you do, like learning, making a difference, and doing the right thing. Their energy and point of view help you stop thinking too much. Understand that some people are having a hard time, but spend less time with people who are draining your energy. You don't have to drown to help them in other ways. Also, put yourself first. Aside from your relationships with other people, limit the amount of media and content that makes you angry, sad, or disturbed. Choose which news to follow. Let information lift your spirits, not bring them down. As Seneca told us, be careful who you share your life with. Those who really care don't get in your way, they lift you up. Good company prevents you losing your way amidst worries. The 9th tip is to cut down on distractions and mess. Our environment and the amount of information we take in both affect mental overwhelm. Ease up. Smartly look at the things that you regularly put in, like websites, notifications, news sources, things you own, and commitments. Cut down on noise and activity that isn't needed and makes things seem more urgent than they really are. Depth comes before width. Clean up your living space and workspace to be more productive. Clear out the clutter and make a quiet place to escape sensory overload. Decluttering helps clear the mind. Set limits on things that can distract you, like TV and social media. To stay focused, use tools to block sites and apps that might tempt you. Take some time to heal offline. Nourish with quality inputs instead of a lot of them. Of course, some distractions can help you recharge in moderation, but too much input and responsibility can drain your willpower, making it hard to concentrate. Get back to the basics of things. Seneca once said, "Be careful of the company you keep, for they will shape you in lasting ways." Good influences include things like information and places you visit. The rest save mental energy by making space, time, and input easier to understand. When you have less on your plate, you can focus on what really matters. To get good output, you need to minimize input. 10th, pay attention to what you can change. Trying to control things outside of yourself that you can't really affect leads to overthinking and anxiety. Reach out and bring peace to the people you know. When you feel like you can't handle all the stress, take a moment to think about the things you can change, your choices, beliefs, judgments, and actions. Don't worry about things or people that aren't under your control. Stop trying to control everything to make it work the way you want it to. When you let go of your false need for complete certainty and control, you can find peace. Allow the beautiful mysteries of life to enter. Certainly, work to mindfully improve whatever you can that is morally right, but know the limits of your efforts. Rather than fighting a pointless battle for control, go with the flow of life. Epictetus said, "Happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are within our control, and some things are not." It is only after you have faced up to this fundamental rule and learned to distinguish between what you can and can't control that inner tranquility and outer effectiveness become possible. Master the former. Number 11. Be present when you do something. Overthinking grows when you don't pay full attention and instead do things on autopilot. Do less, but be there the whole time. If you find yourself getting sidetracked or talking to yourself while doing something important, take a moment to ground yourself back in your body. Pay attention to the little things around you. Take a few deep breaths in and out. Go back to the task with a new sense of interest. If you keep thinking too much, keep bringing yourself back to the present moment. Be kind but firm, and stop them from ruminating. Besides avoiding distractions, make sure you're not rushing through tasks and skipping important steps in the process. Not paying attention also spreads it out. Go deep and slow down. Being thorough calms the mind that is worried. Though careful planning is also useful sometimes, when getting ready is enough, you should just focus on doing the thing without worrying about every little detail. Let the action take you over. Staying focused on the present moment blocks out worrying thoughts. You get into timeless flow states where thinking too much doesn't matter. Do your job perfectly. Details take care of themselves. 12. Always remember that things change. Many hours of overthinking and stress are caused by refusing to accept that reality changes all the time. Don't forget that this will pass too. Think about all the things that changed in your past, like jobs, homes, relationships, and even world events. Soon, your present will also be a thing of the past. As usual, transition will happen. Take a step back when you're worried about problems you're facing right now. Think about how upset you probably felt in a similar situation in the past. Still, you're here now. This will also change. Making peace with the fact that things change over time reduces the pain that comes from desperately trying to control how things are. Let go of the handle, relax, and let life flow through you instead of trying too hard to stop it. All is ephemeral, Marcus Aurelius said. Even memories and the things we remember are fleeting, so every moment devote yourself to living with the divine spark within you in the flesh. Yes, but go beyond the flesh and base your anchor in what stays the same. Sure, be smart about getting the resources you need and setting goals for success, but anxiety comes from expecting things to stay the same instead of being smart about adapting to new situations as they come up. Number 13, show gratitude. Take time every day to think about and be thankful for the people, chances, and things that make your life better. Enjoy the things you take for granted too often. Thank you with all your heart. When you start to think about what you don't have, take a moment to focus on the good things you do have. As simple as a place to live, food, and a way to get around. Being thankful grounds you in providence. Writing down a few things you're thankful for every day can help you follow your goals. Over the course of weeks and months, this builds up a deep well of gratitude that you can draw from when you want to stop overthinking. As a regular habit, say thank you before meals, while writing in the morning, and before bed. As you practice gratitude more, it will become second nature to you. Anxiety has no place in a heart that is thankful. You should have goals and work hard to make things better, but worrying too much can feed into fears of not having enough. Every moment that you fully embrace with gratitude and presence is full of abundance. Thank you. Number 14. Be nice to yourself and other people. Having anger inside you only makes things worse. As much as possible, show understanding and forgiveness. Take note if your obsessive worry makes you angry easily, see other people as bothersome, or be harsh on yourself. These responses only make things worse. So, understand instead of them. If you've been wronged, don't start a fight about how other people should be punished or what kind of penance they owe. Instead, wish them well in silence. For small offenses, just let go and move on. Holding a grudge is the worst thing you can do. Also, be nice to yourself. If thinking too much makes you want to be hard on yourself, talk to yourself like a friend would. Take care of yourself and write down what you've learned without judging yourself. Take care of your spirit. It dissolves our problems, as Marcus Aurelius put it. Take this moment. Immerse yourself in its particulars. Respond to this person, this challenge, this deed. Quit evasions. Stop giving yourself needless trouble. 25th. Find a middle ground. People who have obsessive worry often only see things through one anxious lens. Look at problems from different points of view to get a bigger picture. If you find yourself going round and round about a problem, take a moment to see it from a different angle. What might this situation look like to people who are in different roles or situations? What other good things could come from this? Try writing down the different thoughts and feelings that different people have about the problem that is bothering you. Being in someone else's shoes helps you understand and care about them more. Listen to all sides. Instead of focusing on the worst-case scenarios, Look for strengths or opportunities that are hidden in problems. Ask yourself what lessons this experience could teach you if you face it with courage and creativity. There's always more than one point of view. Think about how exaggerating problems often comes from wanting to feel safe and sure. Then let go of your rigid need for everything to go perfectly by accepting life's inherent mystery with grace. Things are never known for sure. Do well anyway. Regularly push yourself to see things from different points of view. Get rid of panicked attacks that are meant to make assumptions. You gain the ability to respond carefully instead of overreacting. Seneca said, "Whatever can happen at any time can happen today." You're not foolish. You're not thankful. The Stoics believed that you are already lucky just for being alive and living your life. So, calling yourself unlucky isn't just a false belief. It's also a sign of laziness, as it means giving up your duty to act, prepare, and win. That's why the Stoics didn't just sit back and wait for luck to come to them. They actively sought it out by taking constant, focused action. They were ready to take advantage of lucky situations when they came up because they were always working to improve themselves. One of the Stoic rules says, "Luck is what happens when opportunity meets preparation." Lesson 1. Why now is important. Seize the day with Stoic wisdom. In the busyness of everyday life, where there are many distractions and time seems to fly by, the Stoic lessons call us back to a basic truth. The present moment is the most important thing in the world. The writings of Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius are a wake-up call to stop putting things off and accept that they need to be done right now. The Stoics say that we should seize the day, not tomorrow or the next, but right now, because that's all we really have. The present, which is our most valuable thing. Putting things off is the biggest waste of life, said Seneca. These words serve as a powerful warning of how short our lives are. Every moment we wait to act on or chance we miss is a piece of our lives that we can't get back. The Stoics tell us to think about our daily deeds and decide if we are really living or just surviving in hope of a future that might never come. This part talks about how to develop a mindset that focuses on the present, encouraging us to act with the accuracy and seriousness of a Roman, as Marcus Aurelius suggests, focusing only on the job at hand with true sincerity and using Stoic discipline to get rid of procrastination. Procrastination is sneaky because it can make us think that there will always be more time to start, time to change our minds, and time to live the life we really want. You are living as if destined to live forever, Marcus Aurelius says in a moving way. This is a mistaken belief that wastes our time. While focusing on the importance of daily self-reflection, making goals that are in line with our core values, and accepting pain as a way to build resilience and growth, this part gives you real Stoic ways to stop putting things off. When we face the fact that we will die, we find the drive to stop sluggishly living our lives and instead run full speed toward our full potential. Stoics believe that every day is a battleground where the wins are the little steps we take toward becoming better people, and the prizes are the times we fully live. It means realizing that the race is on, that the Olympic Games of life are happening right now, and that we can't just sit back and watch. By following the Stoic practice of seizing the day, we not only honor the old wise ones, but also make our lives full of purpose, meaning, and deep pleasure. Lesson 2. Taking reasonable action. How to seize the day like a Stoic. Stoicism puts a lot of weight on the idea that reason is the key to doing good things and making the most of each day. We will learn about how the Stoic heritage, especially the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, tells us to live our lives based on reason in this lesson. By making smart decisions about what to do and how to act, we can make sure that every moment is used to its best and not wasted on things that don't matter or are out of our control. We'll talk about how reason helps us set goals, focus our efforts on what really matters, and be ready to face each day with purpose and clarity. Reason is a way to get clear on your goals and objectives. The Stoics teach us that clear thinking comes before clear action. In his Meditations, Marcus Aurelius stresses how important it is to know the difference between what we can control and what we can't. He then tells us to put all of our energy into the things we can control. This part gives us steps we can take in our daily lives to follow the Stoic concept. When we start the day by logically evaluating our goals, tasks, and possible problems, we can set priorities for our actions and make sure that our time is spent on important things. This logical ordering helps us seize the day by making sure that everything we do is planned, has a purpose, and fits with our core values. Using Stoic logic to get past problems. The Stoic way of dealing with problems is not to avoid them, but to deal with them in a sensible way, knowing that problems are chances to grow. Stoicism tells us to use reason to get through things and learn from them. This part of the lesson looks at how to deal with everyday problems in a Stoic way by breaking down problems into their parts, weighing possible answers, and making a decision. By taking this attitude, we turn possible failures into steps forward, seeing every situation as an opportunity to show virtue, develop resilience, and advance our success in seizing the day. Giving in to reason at all times. You choose to live your life according to Stoic beliefs by approaching each day with reason and purpose. It means getting up every day determined to use our minds to make sense of everything we see and do, and making sure that every choice we make shows our dedication to being good and improving ourselves. Let us try to follow the concept of reasonable behavior in every part of our lives as we learn more about the Stoic way. We not only take the day, but we also build a life that has value, is satisfying, and works with the natural order of the world when we do these things. By following the Stoic principle of logical action, we can make the most of every day and turn everyday moments into chances to grow in amazing ways. Lesson 3. Making the most of every chance. The way to grow like a Stoic. The core of Stoic thought is a deep respect for the present moment and the knowledge that behind every challenge lies a secret chance. This lesson encourages us to adopt the Stoic way of thinking, which says to seize the day, not just when things are going well, but especially when things are going badly. Marcus Aurelius said that the problems we face should not just be dealt with, but should be turned into ways to improve ourselves and reach our goals. Here, we'll talk about how to find and take advantage of the secret possibilities in every problem, making what seems like a loss into a chance to grow. Using obstacles as motivation to take action. For Stoics, problems are not things that get in the way. They are things that get us moving. If we want to get through them, the world is asking us to show our traits, like patience, resilience, and courage, and to use our logical minds. This part goes into more detail about the Stoic practice of facing issues head-on, showing how every problem is a chance to practice taking the day. Dealing with our problems not only helps us get through them, but it also helps us grow as people and strengthens our resolve to live in line with reason and nature. Stoic advice for getting the most out of each day. In that case, how can we live by the Stoic theory that every problem is an opportunity? This part of the lesson gives you practical ways to live by this concept. It includes activities like contemplation of adversity, in which we imagine problems that might come up and how we would deal with them. This helps us get ready mentally and emotionally for future problems. We also talk about the idea of the inner citadel, which is a mental fortress where we can go to get away, recover, and come back stronger, ready to take advantage of the chances that lie hidden in our trials. We also talk about how important it is to keep a view from above, which means putting our problems in the bigger picture by thinking about them in relation to our lives and the universe. This helps us remember that problems come and go, but our ability to grow from them lasts forever, living full of energy and purpose. To live the Stoic way, you have to decide every morning to not only face the difficulties of the day, but also to look for the chances they bring. It helps us understand that taking the day is more than just enjoying the good times. It means embracing all of our experiences, good and bad, knowing that each has something important to teach us. Let's stay on the Stoic path by having the guts to face our problems head-on, the knowledge to see the chances they hide, and the drive to take advantage of these chances to make ourselves and the world a better place. 4. Lesson 4. Self-reflection as a Stoic practice. Developing daily awareness for living with purpose. According to Stoicism, the key to making the most of each day is not just what we do, but also how we think and feel. Marcus Aurelius believed in daily self-examination, and his works show how important it is to start the day with a moment of thought. In this lesson, we'll look at how the Stoic practice of morning self-reflection can help you start a good, focused day. We can be ready to take advantage of every chance that comes our way if we set aside time every morning to think about our goals, evaluate our ideals, and make sure that our actions are in line with our greatest good. Developing awareness and being present. Thanks to the fast-paced nature of modern life, it's simple to lose touch with the present and forget about our inner and outer experiences. Stoicism, which stresses being aware and present, can help with this feeling of being disconnected. In this section, we look at how adding Stoic mindfulness to our daily lives can help us live more fully in the present moment, accepting each moment with awareness and joy. By practicing present, we make sure that our actions are planned and in line with our goals. This helps us make the most of each day and live in harmony with nature. Ways to think about things for an evening review. In the same way that the morning is a new chance to practice Stoic values, the evening is a great time to think about things and go over them again. Stoics think about their deeds, thoughts, and reactions to the events of the day at the end of the day. This part of the lesson explains how to do an organized evening review. It includes questions for self-reflection that help us be accountable, learn from our mistakes, and get ready for the next day with a clearer sense of purpose. This practice of reflection helps us remember what we've learned that day and strengthens our resolve to grow as people and live a good life. Reflecting on Stoic ideas in everyday life. Stoicism tells us that to really take the day, we need to do things for other people and think about ourselves. This two-pronged method makes sure that our lives are not only full of things to do, but also have meaning and are in line with our core beliefs. As we go forward, let us make a promise to use Stoic self-reflection as a strong tool for self-improvement, awareness, and living a meaningful life every day. We live up to the Stoic ideal of living in balance with the world when we do things that make our own lives better and the lives of those around us better as well. We've seen in this lesson how the Stoic practices of self-reflection and awareness are important parts of learning how to seize the day. The Stoic virtue of temperance is covered in Lesson 5, Getting Past Your Desires to Seize the Day. One of the 4 main Stoic principles is temperance, which means controlling yourself and being moderate in all areas of your life. Being moderate helps us control our wants and urges, so we can put our energy into things that really matter. This lesson talks about how developing moderation makes us better at seizing the day. By being careful and selective about what we do, we match ourselves with our greatest goals and ideals. This way, every choice and action we make leads to a meaningful and fulfilling day. How temperance helps you get perspective. Temperance isn't just about not giving in. It's a purposeful virtue that gives you clarity and direction in a world full of temptations and distractions. Temperance helps us make smart decisions by shining a light on the path ahead. This part talks about how practicing moderation clears our minds of the things that get in the way of us seeing and taking advantage of chances. Using examples from Stoic lessons, we'll look at how keeping our wants, purchases, and responses in check makes for a better setting for concentration and getting things done. Ways to incorporate moderation into daily life. Adding moderation to our daily lives needs intention and practice. This part of the lesson gives us real ways to become more temperate, like making clear limits, practicing mindful consumption, and regularly evaluating our own progress to keep track of our progress. By doing these things, we can live a healthy life without the extremes that can make us lose focus on our goals and cloud our judgment. Being moderate gives us the power to make the most of every day by focusing on what's most important and discovering joy in simplicity and moderation, living with purpose and moderation. To live a quiet life means to act with moderation as your base. It's a call to be smart about the choices we make, to work hard to reach our goals, and to interact with the world around us in a way that has meaning and balance. Let's keep working on being patient and try to show the virtue of moderation in every part of our lives. Not only does this improve our own health, but it also leads to a more thoughtful, calm, and focused way of life that prepares us for every new day's possibilities. Lesson 6. The Stoic Acceptance of Fate. Going through life's paths with acceptance and action. The Stoic acceptance of fate, or amor fati, is a strong way to live your best life. Being able to accept life's ups and downs with grace means seeing everything, good and bad, as part of a natural order that we should accept rather than fight. But this acceptance doesn't mean we're passive. Instead, it pushes us to find the power and chance in our situations. When we love our fate, we connect ourselves with the flow of life. This gives us the peace and reason to face each day. By keeping a calm mind, we can face life with an open heart, ready to take in and learn from whatever comes our way. Focusing on what we can control, our actions, our reactions, and how we feel about life's events, teaches us to be strong. Building up our resilience in this way helps us move forward and make the most of every moment and chance that comes our way. Acting within the limits of fate is what amor fati means. It goes hand in hand with the Stoic task to be good within the limits of what fate has given us. We don't have to give up our goals or dreams when we accept our fate. In fact, it gives us the strength to go after our goals with more energy, focus, and thanks for the present moment. This stern knowledge tells us to see every day as a gift, a one-of-a-kind chance to learn, grow, and give. It tells us that while we cannot control the wind of fate, we can change our sails and focus our efforts on doing things that are important to us and that are in line with our values and goals. When we think this way, we don't try to fight what's going to happen. Instead, we seize the day by integrating our individual projects into the bigger picture of life with acceptance, joy, and a firm resolve to live fully no matter what. This lesson from Stoic philosophy gives us a freeing view that lets us live our lives with a deep sense of control and happiness, seizing every chance to act, love, and live with purpose. Figure out how to use Stoic courage. Be brave and determined throughout the day. Stoic courage is more than just being brave in dangerous situations. It also means being brave and determined as you face the challenges of daily life. This lesson looks at how Stoic courage gives us the strength to face each day with a heart that is strong against fear and doubt. Stoicism teaches that being brave is not the lack of fear, but the choice to do good things even when you're scared. Stoic confidence means facing our responsibilities, goals, and problems head-on without letting fear of failing or the unknown stop us from living our lives to the fullest. Through this brave approach to life, we make sure we don't miss chances to learn, grow, and make a difference. To be courageous like a Stoic, we have to be aware of our fears and weaknesses and make a firm decision to act in line with our values and goals. This part talks about how to develop this kind of courage in our daily lives so that we can avoid being paralyzed and instead take action with purpose, savoring each day with unmatched energy and determination. Stoic tactics for building daily resilience. One important part of using Stoic bravery is to build resilience. This means building up the mental and emotional strength to handle the ups and downs of life with calmness. One way that Stoicism suggests we can build this resilience is through the practice of premeditatio malorum, in which we think about possible problems and practice how we will handle them. This mental planning not only takes the mystery out of our fears, but it also gives us a way to deal with problems. Stoic lessons also tell us to think about how both problems and pleasures pass away. This helps us see things in a more fair way, which makes it easier to stay strong when things change. We are more determined to face each day with courage and fully accept the chances and challenges that come our way when we use these tough techniques every day. The lesson makes a strong point of how Stoic courage can help us live each day to the fullest, filled with meaningful action, personal growth, and the brave chase of our greatest goals. Lesson 8. The Stoic wisdom of taking opportunities. Stoic wisdom isn't just about learning facts, it's about using judgment and understanding in our daily lives to make the most of each day in a worthwhile way. This conservative knowledge helps us figure out what we can control and what we can't, so we can put our energy into doing things that are in line with our values and goals. It tells us to see every day as a patchwork of chances to be good, help other people, and grow as people. When we follow Stoic advice, we make sure that every choice, task, and encounter is made with clarity. This way, our days are not just spent, but lived with purpose and satisfaction. This part talks about how Stoic knowledge can help us make the most of the present moment by guiding our decisions and actions toward what really matters. It tells us that taking the day means giving our values careful thought, having the courage to act on them, and being calm enough to accept the results. Daily thought is a Stoic practice that helps us keep talking to ourselves about our progress, failures, and lessons learned. This makes knowledge a part of our everyday lives, putting Stoic wisdom into daily practice. To put Stoic wisdom into daily practice, we have to make a conscious effort to be present and thoughtful in every moment. This means stopping to think about our actions and how they fit with our inner values. This way, we can make sure we're not just reacting to outside events, but also taking the initiative to live a meaningful and good life. As a Stoic, you should always ask yourself if the things you're doing are good for you and others. This pushes you to live beyond the temporary joys of fame, money, and fame. The advice in this passage is about making decisions that show our desire to live a good life, such as being kind, patient, and honest in all our interactions. Stoic knowledge helps us live better lives and has a good effect on those around us. This is how we live up to the Stoic ideal of living in balance with nature and other people. To sum up, this lesson shows how Stoic advice can change our lives by telling us to live in the present, make smart decisions, and welcome every chance to grow with open arms and a clear mind. In this way, we not only handle the challenges of life with ease, but we also create a road filled with important accomplishments and a deep sense of joy in the things we do every day. Lesson 9. The Stoic balance, combining work and leisure. The Stoic idea of balance shows us how important it is to mix our work and leisure in order to make the most of each day. Being quiet is a new way to look at how to find happiness in both our tasks and our free time in a world that often values constant work over well-being. This lesson focuses on the Stoic idea that real happiness comes from living a good life, which includes striving for virtue at work and enjoying free time as a chance to think, grow, and have fun. By practicing the Stoic virtue of balance, we learn to handle our daily obligations with wisdom, making sure that our attention to work doesn't lead to burnout, and that we spend our free time in ways that make us feel good and make our lives better. This stern balance reminds us to live each day with purpose, knowing that work and rest are both important parts of a life that fully accepts the present. Cultivating a satisfying routine. Taking a Stoic approach to combining work and pleasure means making a routine that includes time for both work and play in a way that fits our values and goals. The Stoics teach us that taking the day means giving our chores our full attention while also letting ourselves relax and enjoy the simpler times. Setting clear limits between work and play, being self-disciplined to focus on our duties during work hours, and letting ourselves completely disconnect during rest times are all parts of this. By doing this, we can create a life that is successful on the outside and peaceful and happy on the inside. This lesson on the Stoic balance between work and leisure can help people who want to add more meaning and pleasure to their daily lives. It shows that the key to savoring each moment is to give our full attention to every part of our lives. Lesson 10. Living with purpose. The Stoic promise to grow every day. The Stoic journey ends with the promise to live every day with purpose. Based on the philosophy's main virtues, wisdom, courage, justice, and moderation, this last lesson stresses how important it is to incorporate these virtues into our daily lives so that we don't just see each hour as a series of numbers, but as a chance to keep growing as a person and make a difference in the world. According to Stoicism, a meaningful life is made up of actions that are in line with our core values, choices that are clear and well thought out, and exchanges that are kind and considerate. By living in a serious way, we make sure that every day is filled with efforts to make ourselves and the world around us better. We see obstacles as opportunities to grow and see every moment as a valuable chance to do good. From this point of view, the ordinary becomes important, and we are encouraged to do every job, no matter how small, with a feeling of purpose and a dedication to doing our best. Stoic ideas say that to live with purpose, we need to understand how everything is linked, and that it is our duty to live in balance with nature and other people, utilizing the present to leave a heritage of virtue and knowledge. To face each day with Stoic determination, you have to wake up with the sun, aware of the chances for growth, learning, and service that each day brings. It means making plans that are in line with our greatest goals, going about our day with resilience and hope, and thinking about what we've learned and how far we've come in the evening. From a Stoic point of view, taking the day is all about this never-ending pattern of action, thought, and growth. Intentionally living means being aware of how short life is and how important it is to make every moment count. By committing to daily growth based on Stoic advice, we not only make our own lives better, but we also encourage those around us to look for meaning and purpose in their lives. In this last lesson, we are asked to fully enjoy every day, to put our all into our work, our relationships, and our own growth, and to go to sleep every night, feeling satisfied that we have lived our lives according to our values. By doing this, we live up to the Stoic ideal of a good life, full of virtue, joy, and a strong desire to make the world and ourselves better. Let's carry on the ancients' knowledge not just as thoughts, but as lively actions that light our way as we come to the end of our trip through the Stoic principles of taking the day. Every morning is like a fresh palette, ready for us to paint it with our choices, actions, and goals. Let us fill our days with purpose, resilience, and joy under the direction of Stoic values. Remember that the most important thing about taking the day is not how many big jobs we get done, but how much awareness, virtue, and love we bring to every moment. As you face the world each morning, make up your mind to live fully, do what's right, and be gentle on the earth. This way, every day will be more than just lived. It will be truly living. We look forward to growing as a group, becoming wiser, and always trying to live a life well, with a strong will. What if you woke up in a peaceful place where everything you own has a place and a purpose? Your heart is happy and your mind is clear. Now, picture going through life's storms with a strong will, knowing that the only things you can control are your thoughts and deeds. These ideas that seem like utopias are not impossible to achieve. They are at the heart of both minimalism and Stoicism, two beliefs that were created hundreds of years apart, but share a goal of living a worthwhile life. Say hello to letting go for a worthwhile life and minimalism. We will go on a trip that peels back the layers of selfishness and reveals the knowledge of old masters. This will help you live a life that you enjoy instead of just existing. First, let's talk about the growing modern minimalist trend. Minimalism is more than just a style, it's a way of life. It's about getting rid of the trash that fills up our thoughts and places and focusing on the things that really make our lives better. Minimalism started as an art trend that emphasized realism and simplicity in the middle of the 20th century. It slowly crept into many areas of culture, such as music, building, and way of life. People are turning to minimalism to get back their time, space, and mental focus. They are discovering that getting rid of the physical mess helps them build relationships, follow their hobbies, and enjoy a level of depth that material things can't provide. Let's go back in time to the busy streets of ancient Athens, where Stoicism began to grow around the year 3 BC. Stoicism is about making things simpler, like minimalism, but it focuses on making things simpler inside. This way of thinking says that the best way to live a happy life is to build self-control, logic, and ethics. Stoicism helps people figure out what they can control and what they can't. It encourages people to focus on what they can control and let go of what they can't. Stoic thinkers such as Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, and Epictetus taught us that what makes us happy is not what is happening around us, but rather how we perceive and respond to it. Letting go is what connects minimalism and Stoicism. Minimalism tells us to get rid of things that aren't necessary, and Stoicism teaches us how to let go of mental baggage and ties. In both beliefs, the idea of simplicity and separation is at the heart of freedom, the freedom to live a life with meaning, purpose, and happiness. We will learn a lot about the subtleties of both minimalism and Stoicism in this film. We will talk about where they came from, what they stand for, and how they can improve people's lives. We will also talk about how to apply these beliefs to our everyday lives and compare and contrast them. For example, case studies and anecdotes will show us how these ideas have changed the lives of real people. Finally, we will talk about what we have learned and encourage you to start using parts of minimalism and Stoicism that work for you. As we begin this educational trip through the worlds of minimalism and Stoicism, get ready to have your ideas about what it means to live a happy life challenged. To live a worthwhile life, you need to plan ahead, be good, and be brave enough to let go of what isn't important. Let's go down this road together. Now, let's get into the first part of our conversation, which is about understanding minimalism. The minimalist movement as we know it today did not start by itself. From the late 1950s to early 1960s, Different kinds of art, mostly music and visual arts, gave rise to it. It was not thought that art had to be complicated in order to be important, so these types of art focused on using simple things. As time went on, this idea changed into living minimalism. People started to question the consumerist culture that ruled society in the early 2000s, which is when minimalism became popular as a way of life. They wanted a life that was less complicated and more important, without all the things that come with it. This is where the modern minimalist movement got its start. It's a reaction to the excesses of capitalism and the search for happiness beyond material wealth. Today, let's talk about the main ideas that make up minimalism. To begin with, minimalism is all about making things easier. It means getting rid of the extra, the pointless, and the annoying things so that you can focus on what really counts. This could mean getting rid of junk in your house, making your schedule more manageable, or even cutting back on social media. It means making a space for yourself, both physically and mentally, that shows what you value and what's most important to you. This is the second core principle, being mindful. Making choices about what to keep and what to let go of is an important part of minimalism. It's not just about getting rid of things. Does this add value to my life? Does this align with my goals and values? Is what intentionality means. It means living with a purpose instead of just sliding through life. It's about making decisions that show what kind of life you want to live. In the third aspect, quality is more important than number. People in a consumerist culture are often told that more is better. This idea is questioned by minimalism. Less isn't better just for the sake of less. It's about having the right things. Instead of collecting a bunch of useless things, it's better to put your money into good things and relationships that will last. Keeping these ideas in mind, let's look at the many benefits of living a minimalistic life. To begin, minimalism can help you think more clearly. Getting rid of trash and other things that get in the way can help us concentrate and be creative. Not having to deal with the chaos around us frees up our minds to think more clearly and make better choices. Financial freedom is another huge gain. By planning what we buy and putting quality over number, we can cut down on spending a lot that isn't necessary. This can help you save money, get out of debt, and have the money to do things you love and have experiences that matter to you. Additionally, minimalism is good for the environment. Our carbon impact gets smaller when we use less. Making and throwing away things are two of the main things that hurt the earth. We are not only making our own lives better when we choose to live with less and make decisions that are good for the world when we do so. As with any trend, though, minimalism has its share of bad press and misunderstandings. One complaint that is often made is that being able to choose to live with less is a luxury that not everyone can enjoy. Some people also say that minimalism can turn into another form of consumerism if people keep buying new minimalist things to replace the old ones. Some people also think that minimalism means living with very little, or that it's an answer that works for everyone. It's important to remember that minimalism is not a rule, but a tool. Creating a life that fits your beliefs and goals is possible, and it can be changed to fit your needs and tastes. Although these complaints are important to look at, it is important to remember that minimalism is not a goal. Instead, it is a process of self-discovery and purpose. It's not a rigid set of rules, but a mindset that can be changed to fit different wants and ways of life. Minimalism doesn't expect us to be perfect. Instead, it pushes us to make progress and be aware of the choices we make. In the same way, minimalism shouldn't just be seen as an advantage. Although some parts of minimalism may be easier to follow for people who have more solid finances, the main ideas of being focused and focusing on quality over number can be helpful for people from all walks of life. It can be about making the most of what you have and being happy with simplicity, no matter how many things you have. To clear up the false idea that minimalism means living a simple or poor life, it is also important to note that minimalism is not always about having a certain number of things. Finding what is important and getting rid of what isn't is what it's all about. For some, this could mean a home with only the things they need, while for others, it could mean a carefully chosen collection of things that make them happy and serve a purpose. Minimalism is a deep and changing way of thinking that goes beyond getting rid of stuff. It's about making a life with meaning, purpose, and happiness by focusing on quality, simplifying, and making smart choices. Minimalism helps people get clear on their thoughts, be financially free, and protect the earth. But, like any theory, it has its critics and people who get it wrong. You should go into minimalism with an open mind, knowing that it is a tool that can be used in many ways to create a useful life. As the movie goes on, we'll look into the old wisdom of Stoicism and see how, like minimalism, it helps us let go of the extra in both our real and mental environments. We will talk about the similarities and differences between these two ideas and give you tips on how to use them together to live a better life. Please stay tuned as we go on a trip through time and thought, pulling apart the threads of Stoicism and minimalism and stitching them into a fabric of happiness, meaning, and well-being. This is not just a call to get rid of stuff or be tough when things go wrong. It's also an offer to rise to a life that is lived with awareness, honesty, and meaning. May this trip make you think, question, and open up to the endless possibilities that lie in the simplicity and wisdom of Stoicism and minimalism. As we leave the modern rooms of minimalism, let us go back in time to the world of ancient times, where Stoicism began. Stoicism is a school of Hellenistic philosophy that started in Athens in the early 3rd century BC. Zeno of Citium, the father of Stoicism, taught from the Stoa Poikile, a painted porch that gives the philosophy its name. Then, in ancient Rome, Stoicism became very popular and was one of the most important ideas in the Roman Empire. Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius are the three most important people in Stoic thought. Seneca was a Roman politician and actor who is best known for the writings and letters that he wrote about how Stoic ideas can benefit everyday life. Epictetus was born a slave in what is now Turkey and went on to become a famous Stoic teacher. His lectures and Enchiridion are important works that give useful tips on how to live a good life. Finally, the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius is often known as the Philosopher King. His meditations, which he wrote while he was in the army, show what he really thought about right and wrong, duty, and the meaning of life. As we learn more about Stoicism's main ideas, the first one that stands out is reason. To the Stoics, reasoning and reason were the most important things in the world. They stressed the importance of using logic to understand and get around in the world. People thought that this logical way of thinking would lead to virtue and peace because it let people make choices that were in line with nature and morality. The second idea is that you can control how responses happen. For Stoics, there is a clear line between what we can control and what we can't. We have full control over our thoughts, feelings, and deeds, but not over what happens in the outside world. We can stay calm in tough situations by focusing on what we can control and letting go of what we can't. The third principle is to seek virtue as the best thing that can happen. Wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance are all included in Stoic definitions of virtue, in addition to moral goodness. They thought that the key to happiness and satisfaction was to live a good life that was in tune with reason and nature. So how does this old theory help us deal with problems? Stoicism teaches us to separate ourselves from the chaos and look at things objectively through the lens of reason when we are facing problems. By doing this, we can keep our bad feelings from getting in the way of our decisions and act in a way that is consistent with our values. It tells us not to see problems as bad things that happen, but as chances to learn and grow. Let's jump ahead to the present day. Even though it's an old theory, its ideas are still relevant today. Stoicism gives us a way to find our way through a world that is becoming more unstable and unsure. Cognitive behavioral therapy is a popular way to help mental health problems. Its focus on reason and control over responses is similar to this theory. Additionally, leaders in the business world use Stoic ideas to make smart choices and build resilience in their teams. This theory gives people who are interested in personal growth tools they can use to strengthen their minds and live purposeful, honest lives. It is becoming a part of daily life through activities like writing, awareness, and reflection that help people live in line with their ideals. In short, Stoicism is a theory that has a lot of knowledge. It was born in old Greece and Rome. Its main ideas are logic, controlling your responses, and seeking virtue. These ideas give people the power to live happy, decent lives. It can be used as a guide in a world that is always changing, from the lessons of Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius to current psychology and leadership. As we learn more about Stoicism, it's important to remember that it's more than just a set of intellectual thoughts. It's a call to action. The message tells us to develop a smart and good mind, to know what we can control and let go of what we can't, and to see problems as chances to grow as people. This is a call to live wisely as well as with thought. After learning a lot about Stoic thought, we now find ourselves at an interesting point where minimalism and Stoicism meet. As we will soon see, both theories, even though they came about at different times and in different situations, are based on the idea of letting go of the extra, whether it's material things or mental constructs, and wanting a life that is meaningful, happy, and in line with our values. In the next sections, we'll look at how these two theories work together and how they differ, as well as how they can be used in our daily lives. We will talk about how the knowledge and morality of Stoicism can be added to the purpose and simplicity of minimalism. These ideas can work together to make a strong foundation for a life that is not only clear and strong, but also deeply important. With an open mind and a desire to learn, let us start this journey of discovery. We should be ready to question our beliefs, break out of old habits, and accept new ways of doing things. The ideas of minimalism and Stoicism ask us to go on a trip that is both about letting go and finding out what is really important to hold on to. This journey isn't just about ideas, it's also very emotional. We are all being asked to think about the choices we are making, the lives we are living, and the ideals we are supporting. It's a call to let go of what's extra and choose what's important, to stop the noise and choose knowledge, to let go of what's temporary and choose what will last forever. I think that minimalism and Stoicism can help us find a way to live a life that is not just lived, but loved, that is not just tolerated, but honored, and that is not just short, but full of meaning. When we keep going on our journey of discovery, we reach a point where minimalism and Stoicism meet. Though they came out hundreds of years apart, these two strong ideas have a lot in common as well as clear differences. Now, let's take a close look at the tapestry they've made. Let's start with what they have in common. In the first place, both stress the importance of seeking simplicity and focus. Minimalism tells us to make our lives easier by getting rid of unnecessary things and clearing out our places. Stoicism, on the other hand, advises us to keep things simple by being logical and concentrating on what we can control. Both of these ideas tell us to get rid of what isn't important so that we can focus on what does. The second thing they have in common is getting rid of extra. In the philosophy of minimalism, this means getting rid of things that don't make our lives better. Stoicism is about letting go of wants, feelings, and ties that are too strong and get in the way of our goal of virtue. Both views agree that too much, whether it's physical waste or mental chaos, can get in the way of living a happy life. The third thing they have in common is that they both stress being happy inside. The idea of minimalism teaches us that happiness doesn't come from having more things, but from living a life with meaning. In the same way, Stoicism says that happiness comes from living in harmony with nature and reason, not from getting praise or money from other people. Now let's look at what's different. The first difference is how they fit into history and culture. Modern minimalism grew out of a reaction against consumerism and having too many things. It was mostly popular in the Western world. Stoicism, on the other hand, has its origins in ancient Greece and Rome and was an intellectual reaction to people's search for virtue and happiness in a chaotic world. What's different about the second one is its reach and use. Minimalism is mostly about the real parts of our lives. It tells us to clear out our places and think about what we buy. Stoicism, on the other hand, looks at more than just our outside situations. It looks at our thoughts, feelings, and character as well. The third difference is in what drives each person. A lot of people who are minimalists want to make their lives more open, free, and sharp. It's about taking care of your surroundings. But moral theory is at the heart of Stoicism. It's about taking care of your soul and spirit. As a Stoic, you have a job to live a good life that is in tune with reason and nature. When we think about these ways the ideas are alike and different, we can see that they are like two sides of the same coin. They both show us how to live a simple, focused, and happy life, but they do it in different ways and with different tools. If you will, think of minimalism as a way to get around in the real world by clearing out our areas and narrowing our actions. Stoicism is the direction that helps us manage our thoughts, feelings, and character with virtue and knowledge as we travel through the internal seas. They work well together to make something powerful. Putting together the purposefulness and simplicity of minimalism with the wisdom and virtue of Stoicism can help us make a life that is not only clear and focused, but also deeply important and in line with our greatest values. Not only should we pick one theory, but we should pick both. Let's instead enjoy the many benefits that both minimalism and Stoicism have to offer and use them together as a pair to make our lives more satisfying. Let's use them both as guides that work together. The guide of Stoicism will keep us on a path that is true to who we are and what we value. Let minimalism be the ship that moves us forward. Allow us to pause for a moment and think about the places we live and the things we have around us before we move on. Do they have a use, or are they just extra stuff? Now we need to look inward and think about what we are thinking, feeling, and doing. Are they in line with our ideas, or are they all over the place? Let us keep in mind the main ideas behind Stoicism's call for knowledge and minimalism's call for simplicity as we go. Let's be builders and carefully plan a life that speaks to our soul's longing for meaning and happiness. Even though the two beliefs come from different places and have different goals, they both aim to help us live a life that is simple and full of what's important. Minimalism tells us to clean up the outside world, and Stoicism pushes us to control the inside world. Where they meet, we find a way that leads not only to simplicity or knowledge, but also to a life with deep meaning. At the point where these two ideas meet, we have the power and the tools to shape our journey. It will be as unique as each of us, but its goal is the same: to live a more important and happy life. It's not always easy to go on this trip, Sometimes you have to be brave and let go. Each step we take on this road, though, weaves together threads of simplicity, knowledge, purpose, and happiness to make a fabric. Let's take the flames of Stoicism and minimalism with us as we enter the world of practical application with open hearts and minds. Let us learn more about these old beliefs, combine their ideas, and live by their lessons. Let us keep moving forward with thanks. Thanks for the knowledge that has been passed down through the years and for the chance to incorporate it into our lives. We will talk about how these ideas can be used in real life in the next section. We will talk about ways to incorporate Stoicism and minimalism into your daily life, creating a fabric that is not only straightforward and wise, but also deeply and deeply important. Thanks a lot. As we make our way through the complex web of minimalism and Stoicism, we have now reached a key juncture, incorporating these ideas into our everyday lives. Here is where the theory turns into practice and where we take the first steps toward living a more worthwhile life. First, let's talk about how to put simple ideas into practice in real life. First, clean up your actual room. Take a look at what you own and ask yourself if it serves a purpose or makes you happy. If not, you might want to let them go. You can take your time with this. Start with one room or even just one box and work your way up. Second, be aware of what you're consuming. Think about whether the thing is important and in line with your ideals before you buy it. You can use this way of thinking in other areas of your life, like partnerships and responsibilities. Last but not least, put quality over number. Spend money on things and people that will make your life better. This doesn't always mean spending money. It could also mean giving time and care. Thanks a lot. Let's look at how to use the Stoic mindset to help us make choices and deal with stress. To start, work on the duality of control. Know what you can control and what you can't. Events outside of your control are out of your hands, but you can choose how to respond and what to do. When you're facing a problem, ask yourself what you can control and put your attention on those. Second, think about your beliefs and make choices based on them. Stoicism tells us that being good is the best thing that can happen. Choose to act in a way that is honest, trustworthy, and caring. Lastly, regularly practice being aware and thinking about yourself. Take some time to think about what you did, what you chose, and how you feel. The development of reason and mental resilience is aided by this exercise. How can we find a balance between Stoicism and minimalism for our own growth? All of this must work together. Stimulate your surroundings with minimalism to support your values and goals, and train your mind to be strong, focused, and good with Stoicism. Also, it's important to know that Stoicism and minimalism are not either-or ways of life. They are adaptable and can be changed to fit your needs and objectives. Be steady, take small steps, and be ready to change how you do things as you learn and grow. To put this in perspective, let's look at real-life cases of people who have combined these two ideas. Take a look at the story of Joshua Fields Milburn and Ryan Nicodemus, who are known as the minimalists. Their business jobs were full of stuff, but didn't give them any meaning, so they both quit. By focusing on what they could control and making their lives more in line with their values, they made their lives simpler through minimalism and Stoic principles. Another example is businessman and author Tim Ferriss, who has been very open about how Stoicism has changed his life and the way he makes decisions. He has also turned to minimalism, focused on the most important things and people in his life that are in line with his values. Putting minimalism and Stoicism together can help you grow as a person and give your life more value. By making our outside world simpler through minimalism and strengthening our minds with Stoicism, we can create a life that is not only free of clutter, but also full of meaning and happiness. As we come to the end of this part, I want you to take a moment to think about what you like about both Stoicism and minimalism. Feel free to think about how you can apply these ideas to your own life and how they can help you grow and be happy. Let's keep going down this path together, taking in the knowledge and usefulness that Stoicism and minimalism have to offer. Let's look at all the different ways these ideas can make our lives better, help us get rid of unnecessary things, and give us a deep sense of purpose. However, before we go any further, let's admit that the path to combining minimalism and Stoicism can be very beneficial, but it is also not without its difficulties. It takes hard work, dedication, and sometimes being ready to leave our comfort zones. It's also important to remember that blending is not a goal, but a path of growth and change that never ends. These ideas will change and grow with us, as will how we understand and use them. One size doesn't fit all, and we can't say that we've reached Stoicism or minimalism. They are with us on our lifelong path to becoming fully human. As we go along this road, let's remember to be kind and patient with ourselves. It takes time to make changes, especially ones that affect how we live and think. We will trip and fall sometimes, and that's okay. The important thing is that we get back up, learn from these mistakes, and move forward with more energy and focus. We are not going on this trip by ourselves. A huge number of people have gone down similar routes, combining minimalism and Stoicism to find a deeper meaning in their lives. We can learn from their mistakes and be inspired by their stories. It can also comfort us to know that we are not the only ones looking for meaning and happiness. Crossing countries and time to learn more about the rich patchwork of Eastern religions and ideas is the next step in our journey. With its thousands of years of history and thought, the East has a lot to offer people who want to live a worthwhile life. It's interesting that Stoicism and minimalism are related in a number of ways. Let's look into these lovely similarities and see how they can make our lives better. One of the most important ideas in Buddhism is the middle way. This idea supports a road of balance and staying away from extremes, which is a lot like minimalism. According to the middle way, we can live a healthy life that is good for our spiritual growth if we don't indulge in either excess or frugality. The Four Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path are also part of Buddhism. They help people live without ties, which is a concept that fits with Stoic ideas. The Four Noble Truths describe human pain and what causes it. The Noble Eightfold Path, on the other hand, gives advice on how to stop suffering through right behavior, right motivation, and right awareness. When we talk about awareness, Buddhism has a long history of focusing on the present moment and meditating. Stoic awareness and these techniques both help people focus on the present moment and what's important. Meditation makes us more aware and calm, which helps us let go of fleeting feelings and focus on our true selves. Taoism stresses naturalness, simplicity, and not acting, which are ideas that are similar to minimalism. Wu Wei means not doing or not acting. It doesn't mean not doing anything, but rather doing something that goes with the way things naturally go. It's about doing things without thinking and having a simple life. Yin and Yang are also important in Taoism. They stand for balance and unity in nature. In Taoist thinking, this balance is very important. It is also similar to minimalism and Stoicism, which also try to find balance in one's life and feelings. Living in harmony with nature is another part. According to Taoism, people should live in harmony with the Tao, which is the basic idea that everything comes from. This idea is a lot like the Stoic thought that to be good and happy, you should live in harmony with nature. Another old Eastern faith, Hinduism, has a lot to say about Dharma and living a simple life. Moral responsibility is another name for Dharma. It is a way where focus and simplicity are very important. Following your Dharma means living a moral and purposeful life, which is similar to the focus of minimalists on being thoughtful. Non-attachment is also important in Hindu thought. Like Stoic detachment, this idea tells people not to be tied down by things they don't need or feelings that will pass. In Hinduism, yoga and meditation are not just physical activities. They are also ways to find out more about yourself and match your inner ideals. This is a lot like serious self-reflection and getting in line with what is good and reasonable. Confucianism, which has a big impact on Eastern thought, promotes moderation and balance, which are similar to simple ideas. Ren, which means kindness, and Li, which means rituals and right behavior, are also very important in Confucianism. In line with Stoic values, these ideas are about moral qualities and how to act in public. Confucianism also stresses the value of relationships and getting along with others, which is similar to Stoicism's focus on community involvement and realizing that we are all part of a bigger picture. Finally, both minimalism and Stoicism have a lot in common with Eastern religions and beliefs. The ideals of minimalism and Stoicism are similar to the Eastern ideas of balance, modesty, awareness, and non-attachment. Philosophies from both the East and the West can help us get rid of unnecessary things and focus on what's important for a happy life. Eastern thought is especially helpful because it focuses on personal growth, getting along with others, and how everything is linked. The lessons can be a great source of knowledge for anyone who wants to live a happier, more worthwhile life. As we've seen, minimalism tells us to get rid of unnecessary things and put more emphasis on quality over number. Stoicism tells us to be logical, to control our emotions, and to see ethics as the best thing. Eastern ideologies, with their wide range of beliefs, can teach us a lot about how to live in balance with ourselves and with nature. As you go about your daily life, think about how you could combine these beliefs. For example, you could follow the awareness techniques of Buddhism, the easy action of Taoism's Wu Wei, the moral guide of Hindu Dharma, or the social ideals of Confucianism. Put these together with the simplicity of minimalism and the sense that makes sense of Stoicism. Let's not think of these ideas as different, but as colors that go well together on a canvas that we can use to paint our lives. Getting ideas from both the East and the West can help people of all ages and countries understand and learn from each other. You can find a lot of examples in real life to help you understand. Many people go about their lives without getting much attention. They live simple, good, and balanced lives. They are happy and satisfied, not because they have a lot, but because they know what's important. It's not a goal to reach this unification. It's a process. Remember what Lao Tzu said, "A journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step." This information can be that step for you. Accept what the East and the West have to say, simplify, make sense of, and balance them, and find your middle ground. It might not always be easy to follow this path. You might have to make compromises and tough decisions, but in the end, it gives us something priceless, a life with meaning, happiness, and a strong bond with the world around us. Now that our trip through minimalism, Stoicism, and Eastern beliefs is over, let's take a moment to think about the rich fabric of knowledge we've shown you. We started by learning about the history of minimalism and its main ideas, which are to keep things simple, be purposeful, and put quality over number. We talked about some of the problems and misunderstandings about living a frugal lifestyle and also found the many benefits, such as mental clarity, financial freedom, and protecting the environment. We went back in time and learned more about the deepest parts of Stoic thought, which comes from Greece and Rome in the Old World. We learned from Stoicism how important it is to be logical, to be able to control our emotions, and to see virtue as the greatest good. We looked at how Stoicism helps people deal with problems and how it is still useful today by reading the writings of thinkers like Seneca, Marcus Aurelius, and Epictetus. The next stop on our trip was the place where minimalism and Stoicism meet. We saw strong links between them in their search for simplicity, focus, and inner peace. But we also saw differences in their historical background, scope, and main goals. We talked about how these different ideas can help us live a more worthwhile life by cutting down on the unnecessary things in our lives. In addition, we talked about how to use minimalism and Stoicism in our everyday lives. We talked about how simple ideas can help us clear out not only our real places, but also our minds. We also talked about how to use the Stoic mindset to help us make decisions and deal with the things that happen around us. We saw cases of people in real life who have used both ideas together to improve themselves. Our journey didn't end there. It got bigger as we crossed the ocean to the eastern shores. We took a look at some of the many Eastern faiths and ideas that have things in common with minimalism and Stoicism. We found many beliefs that fit with minimalism and Stoicism, such as the Middle Way in Buddhism, Tao and Wu Wei in Taoism, Dharma in Hinduism, and the doctrine of the mean in Confucianism. Please don't let this be the end of your study. Instead, let it be the start. Think about how you can use the lessons you've learned from Stoicism and minimalism in your everyday life. Try out different things to see what works for you, and don't be afraid to change them to fit your needs. There are as many ways to find meaning and happiness in life as there are people. There isn't a single answer that works for everyone. You have to keep learning, unlearning, and learning again. It's a garden where you can plant seeds of knowledge from different beliefs. If you care for them, they will grow into a life that is full, rich, and in line with your values and ideals. It is very important to realize that the things we buy, the praise we get, and the social standards we use to judge our own progress are all temporary. The happiness and satisfaction that come from living a life based on simplicity, virtue, and purpose are what last. Finally, let's carry on the knowledge that has been passed down for thousands of years. Let's carry the torch and light the way for each other and ourselves. Explore the world and learn new things, but most of all, look for value. As you go forward, may your life be like a well-written book, where the depth of its writing is more important than its size. May the ideas of minimalism, Stoicism, and Eastern beliefs fill every page of your life with meaning, happiness, and satisfaction. As the great philosopher Seneca once said, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." Let's keep learning, keep growing, and most importantly, keep moving through life with virtue as our anchor and knowledge as our guide. And there you have it, a simple look into how Stoicism can help you gain more self-control and discipline in your life. We've covered some basic yet powerful ideas that can help you stay calm and make smarter choices, no matter what situation you're in. Remember, it's all about focusing on what you can control and letting go of what you can't. By applying these Stoic principles, you're not just learning how to deal with tough times better, you're also setting yourself up for a happier and more balanced life. Take these lessons and try them out in your daily life. It might not be easy at first, but with a little practice, you'll start to see changes in how you handle problems and stress. You'll find yourself feeling more in control and less thrown off by the unexpected. Thanks for joining us on this journey through Stoicism. Keep these ideas in mind as you go about your days, and remember, the key to a more disciplined and calm life is already in your hands.